John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV, FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.
Welcome in on a Friday. Hope it's a good one for you. We got a lot planned for you over the course of this afternoon, bottom of the hour. Bob Level, Indiana Sports Talk tonight and tomorrow night. I think I'm going to join again tomorrow night in the 11 o'clock hour like I did last week. And Bob will join us coming up bottom of the hour. Mike Wells, is he good? We haven't heard. Mike Wells may have work to do, but he needs to be on here at 4 o'clock today because Chris Ballard had a Zoom presser with the local media. We've been paying attention to that over the course of the past hour or so. And we'll dive into that in just a second, as you know that I normally will do. Mike Wells slated for the top of the hour, 4 o'clock, matter of fact. And hashtag Ask Pat, Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. He's going to join us at 5 for all of your questions. And as we now embark near the weekend, we've got an Anything Goes for you. Anything Goes segment coming up at 6 o'clock right here on 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan. So he dabbled in with a couple of wide receivers in free agency. I saw Chris Ballard said that a little bit earlier, dabbled. I'm going to tell you this, you got to be more than dabbling. You need to do a little bit more than dabble. And it would be great if I wasn't right about this for 2 years running now. I know there are a lot of things you can blame on last year. A lot of ways you can go. You can blame injuries. You can blame place kicking, end of season defense, a lot of things you can really focus a blame, but you found yourself once again because of injuries. You found yourself in a crap hole at wide receiver, just like you did the year prior, but you had a little bit of savior going on there. Plus, you had Andrew Luck under center, which helped. But dabbled with the wide receiver position in free agency. I'll be completely honest. I'm not going to sit here and rabble-rouse and shake my fist and try to stir things up or, kind of be a jackass. I will just tell you this. To me, I wasn't that impressed about what was available at wide receiver in free agency either, which will make, to me, it makes this draft premium on some addition. Now, we can all sit back and relax and think that T.Y. is going to be okay. He's over 30. He had some injury setbacks a year ago, but yeah, he'll be fine. Paris Campbell's going to be fine. Injury-plagued rookie season. Everything is going to be all right. And I really do, I hope that Reese Fountain responds from injury and he turns out to be something productive, somebody that you can count on. I really do. Now, we've been down a path like that before. I absolutely hope that is the case. But we've been down that path. We were down it a year ago, and it didn't work out with Deion Kane. So to count on it would be silly. But you would have to think that with a draft that is so deep at the wide receiver position, that somebody with one of these second-round picks, for example, somebody you can bring in. And that is the hope right there. That is the hope for me. At some point, and I get it too. I mean, the philosophy is, okay, great, thank you. The philosophy is both sides of the line, and you build that, and that is great. But you can't leave this behind either, especially when it has cost you the past couple of years, right? And it certainly has. There's no getting around it. It absolutely has cost you the past couple of years. So that we shall see as far as the draft is concerned. Yeah, the Zoom thing is pretty funny, though. That does make me laugh. Yeah, I saw Ballard's response to the question regarding the 13 for DeForest Buckner. Quote, it was easy. It was very easy. And it is not lost on me either. I know you guys are already digging on this. It's not lost on me that toward the end of the Zoom conference, Chris Ballard kind of unprovoked mentioned he wished he had more picks. which leads us all to believe that, hey, let's go ahead and trade back. Hey, trade back until you're blue in the face, but you draft a wide receiver or two, all right? Trade back all you want. I mean, listen, if you feel like selecting a defensive lineman, which we'll see, with one of those second-round picks, yeah, you think I'm joking right now, don't you? My man loves his lineman. He's like a lineman's dream. Think about the dream that LaRaven Clark is living right now. He doesn't ever play, and he gets re-signed again. It's healthy. He's healthy. He doesn't play. He's scratching. He's re-signed again. Chris Ballard is a lineman's dream, and I hope that it works out. I'm going to tell you this. It is great when you're winning and everybody wears your hat that says run the damn football and their T-shirt that says that. It's great. All of a sudden, though, when it's winning time and you don't have playmakers to help you do that, it's tough to explain. It's great when it's going on. But then it becomes a little bit tough to explain. We'll see. I mean, more picks would mean that kind of sounds like a trade down scenario, which is never left out of the realm of possibility here. It's not. Ballard mentioned a little bit earlier today regarding the quarterback position for the future. It's something you cannot force, especially within the parameters, and I'm paraphrasing here of his words, but within the parameters of the draft itself. Doesn't know when that's going to happen this year, maybe next year, maybe 2 years. A lot of maybes there. And again, we figured this out because this is accurate. You bring a $25 million, 38-year-old quarterback in that has played at a high level in the past, maybe not last year, which he didn't, but in the past. You bring him in because your belief is he's going to raise the bar of this team to the point where you will want to bring him back the next year. I mean, it's not a one-and-done scenario with them in mind, because part of the thing is, too, I mean, if you have Phillip Rivers and it's a failure and it doesn't work and you do need to draft, or you wish you would have drafted somebody, or have to go back out in free agency to get somebody, or you're leaning on Jacoby Brissett, if that doesn't work, it is a massive failure. If he doesn't come back from one more year, it's a failure. That's the last thing you want, and that's sure as hell the last thing you're thinking about right now, is for that move to be a failure. And to me, you look at it this way. That's the only way that Phillip Rivers does not return next year and get a franchise tag, get another boatload of money. The only way he doesn't return is if it's a failure. And that's the last thing that you want. It really is. You want to go ahead and take that, are you? You better have stuff done, man. I'm telling you, if I get a note here in a little bit and it's not done, it's your ass. We're doing a little parenting right here. A little learning. Who has said that in the last week? Any parents at home in the last week said that? Hey, you know, if I get something different from your teacher than what you're doing right now, we've got some problems. Anybody else out there in that category doing it? Oh, man. It is our lives as parents living in a world of e-learning right now. And I'm going to give a shout-out to the teachers, the administrators, those that are doing the work. I mean, there are some administrators, I'm sure, that have their thumb fully up their rear end. But educators, teachers that are working hard right now, I salute you, because this is hard as hell. It's hard for everybody. And it's a bummer. It stinks for the kids. But the teachers that I know have the welfare and the best interest of their kids in mind, and that makes me feel good. And I am going to salute you, teachers that are working through this, because it's as difficult for them, if not more difficult for them, than it is for us. It is. We'll see. We better be matching up here, baby. Kyle's seen it, man. I have to go in there and read the riot act here during the break. It's pretty funny. Yeah, a lot of you have asked about this, too. As far as the precautionary measures that are taken going into a draft where it's a virtual draft, it's online. Because we have seen via Zoom, we have seen some things not work out great. We've seen some hacking going on. I don't think it takes like a world-class hacker either. I think you can kind of be in your own little world a better than maybe a half-ass hacker and still kind of bust into this a little bit, right? Some of the precautions they are taking, there's a backup generator set up at Casa de Ballard and a backup internet. And, he can always just make a call, too. But they got backup and backup. That's why next week is going to be fun as hell. I sit here and talk about this is what you have to do. This is what you should do. And if you don't, I'm going to whine and cry about it the next day. But no, this to me is more interesting than Las Vegas. You wish that it was Las Vegas because if you got Las Vegas, you would have normalcy and we would all be in a much better place via normal circumstances right now. That's what you wish for. I wish for normalcy just like you. And if Vegas were the destination for the draft next week, that's the world in which we would be living in. And it would be much better. But given the fact that is not the case, this is reality with no Vegas. This whole virtual online Zoom thing, internet, is going to be rather entertaining to watch. Whereas the horse competition wasn't. And maybe things will get grainy. Maybe the video won't be the best. Maybe the production value won't be its usual top notch. And listen, I agree. I dismissed the horse competition for that, and for that alone, I go, man, this sucks. I can't even watch 5 minutes of it. And I'm sitting at home wanting anything. Give me anything. And it didn't happen. So I turned it off after 5 minutes. This, however, I'm not. And, you've got some really interesting circumstances here. The horse is one thing, but you've got circumstances here. Consequences. And, you're going about it in a fashion in which we have never seen around here. Anywhere. Which I frankly cannot wait for. That's great. Yeah, the quarterback situation is going to be interesting. And even with those words that Ballard said today, you can't force it. A lot of you are suggesting to me, well, see, that's why you trade 13. You trade 13 for DeForest Buckner because you just don't like anybody that's coming in that general vicinity. I don't buy it. I think they like DeForest Buckner a great deal. And knowing Chris Ballard and knowing what he wants, I think that is specifically the reason why they traded 13. They're cool with that. And again, is it going to surprise anybody if all of a sudden with 34 or 44, I'm not even going to say 75 in this case, 34 or 44, if they don't draft somebody up front defensively? Is there anybody in that range that has any type of history, any sort of history that's been capable of getting after the quarterback? You're getting Justin Houston that's getting longer in the tooth here. And I've said this before. I think Toure is going to end up being something. But, Toure is also in that category of his signature game from his time in the NFL, and also in that game, it was a season-ending injury. But I think the interior that is being built on this line is going to make a guy like Toure a hell of a lot better coming off the edge. But would it surprise anybody if they went defensive lineman here? Anybody out there be surprised? If I said quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and then mixed in defensive lineman in that for those 2 second-round picks, the 34 and the 44, would anybody out there be at all surprised if that was the direction they end up going? I, for one, would not. Now, we shall see. We can talk about that, what Ballard had to say a little bit earlier today. 239-1070, email address, jmv at 1070thefan.com. This show is also on YouTube Live. It's funny because circumstances around here have changed so drastically, and there's not much of a drive time, if any drive time, How is traffic right now? I've been concentrating a little bit more this past week on YouTube Live, and we've got a lot of good fellas in there hanging out, showing some opinion. Kyle actually set up something for me yesterday, and I think I foobarred it or something. I was trying to get in to ask a question to Kevin Bowen last night, and it took me more than 3 seconds, and I went, forget this. Like normal. You know what? The hell with it. I'm done. And went to sleep. But since the drive time has certainly been affected by where we are right now, I have been utilizing the YouTube live channel a lot more. And if you guys want to jump in, so be it. Jump in. And we'll have some fun with it. We have been doing it. We're getting a cast of characters in there. Really, we're getting a cast of characters not to the level of the baggery and what it used to be back in the day that would get me in trouble all the time. Yeah, back in the day, the baggery was, back in the day when I was at a different station, it was a message board that was on the website of that different station. And the baggery on a daily basis would get my ass in all kinds of trouble. Everybody came whining at me about that. I said, listen, what am I going to do? The Chris Hagen story, for example. Chris Hagen didn't talk to me for a month because of a video. Or a picture, I'm sorry. It was a picture that ended up airing inside the baggery back then. Those guys all the time. And what's funny about it is, everybody went whining about it and goes, you got to stop this foolishness. I can't handle it. And I'm thinking, man, look at it. It's all about me. I'm being called pasty. I'm being called fat. I'm being called ugly. It's all about me. They're ripping on me. Alas, there wasn't much I could do about it, but it was funny. They were a fun group. They just wanted to have a little harder edge, layer of fun, and that's exactly what they did. My man Tanner Hall's on board. Welcome into the fray there, Tanner Hall. Larry Brown writes this. Hey, JMV, how about they go Jonathan Taylor at running back or Michael Pittman Jr. at wide receiver with a second? I think we can all dig on Michael Pittman Jr. In fact, both Kyle and I, by virtue of Charles Arbuckle and his Monday visit here, and if you remember, we gauged the hit and miss. We balanced out Chase Claypool and Michael Pittman Jr., and I came away with Michael Pittman Jr. I think Kyle would be in agreement. Now, granted, this is nothing against Chase Claypool. He's a talented dude. Don't get me wrong. Athletic, talented. But I thought we came away on Monday after what Charles Arbuckle said with a good feeling about Michael Pittman Jr. So I would agree with that. I don't want Jonathan Taylor in the second round. That's just me. And we'll see what Ballard, if he actually doesn't like anybody in this draft at quarterback. Will they listen, with his words earlier today, you can't force it. And then we kind of use terms so easily like take a flyer on, ... Didn't sound like a dude earlier today that would be willing to take a flyer on a quarterback that they didn't absolutely believe in. Now, some of these mock drafts have Jordan Love of Utah State unavailable once they selected 34. Others, including the Athletic that we talked about earlier this week, others do have the quarterback from Utah State with availability at 34. And you remember part of what was reported from the Senior Bowl, and remember the Senior Bowl is a place in which Chris Ballard holds a great deal of trust with his eyeballs and what he sees over those days in Mobile, Alabama. And coming out of that, it was about Jordan Love. Now, some people will weigh the options here and think maybe there was a lot more made out of it than anything. And again, you can go several different angles on this. They could be saying something just for the sake of saying something. And I've always mentioned this when Chris Ballard comes to mind because there are a lot of folks around here that go, you know what, Chris Ballard, he never lies and he always tells you the truth. He tells you what he believes you should know, and that's about it. Nobody's going to come out and tell you the absolute truth. He goes at it differently than Bill Polian went at it back in the day. I mean, who ultimately knows, too? Because what they all say, and I didn't hear this part, I mean, do you let the draft board dictate who you draft? I.e., do you draft according to best player available, or do you draft according to a need? Now, I mean, that's a generalized term, I think, for the Colts, because you could be drafting at 34 and you could hit both. I mean, you could have a wide receiver on the top of your list and still be drafting for an absolute need, which would be the case. Shout out to Sean Brown. Long live the Baggery. He was a member too, man. These guys got me in trouble all the time. I had people whining and crying every day about that. I go, listen, I can't shut it down. I don't even know how to log on. I don't even think I ever dropped a message on the message board there. Every day there were pictures from the film Powder. Remember the movie Powder? Because they made fun of me because they thought I was like the whitest dude around. Every day there was a picture of me right next to a picture of Powder. Or, no, here's a better one, too. Or I'd jump in there sometime. You know, I'd just be reading. I'd be not trolling, but just kind of observing. Here's the best one, too. Remember the fat blueberry-eating pie guy and Stand By Me that barfed all over, and then everybody barfed? They had the barf around. Oh, that was in there, too. Just like me. I wasn't that big. Yeah, you're right. Long live the Baggery. Always getting me in trouble. But now you could draft with the best player on the board and still draft for your direct need. And in fact, if you wanted to at 34, I mean, you could do that. You could do that at wide receiver. You could do that at quarterback. If there's a slide, you could. But you watch. You watch out for a defensive lineman here. Knowing how much he and they love to build up front and what they have accomplished in doing so. And listen, I mean, I make fun of the lack of wide receiver prowess all the time. And, you know, it's rock solid because it's true, but they have a belief of building up front, and you do have to admit, as of right now, it looks pretty good, especially the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, thanks, John McClain. Lard ass. That was Stand By Me. Ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-boom. But we'll see. Defensive lineman, anybody? Would you be shocked if a defensive lineman was selected with either of these second-round picks? That reeks of a Connecticut Water question of the day right there. It really does. Would anybody be shocked? All right, we'll hit that and more at 239-1070. Email address, jmv@1070thefan.com. I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic day. I did want to remind you of this. I'm assuming for the foreseeable future, and we'll see where this goes, but the Saturday night all-request in-house party has performed so well with all of you in mind. You guys have done such a great job in responding to it via Twitter and listening to it on a Saturday night by Saturday night basis. We are going to continue this for the foreseeable future, meaning as long as we're still kind of shut in or as long as we're still kind of dealing with the barriers in which is necessary, we're going to continue to do it. And shout out to Sean and Eric for allowing me to do it. It's a blast. I mean, it really is. Now, I don't know. Some of you may not like 80s. Some of you may like 90s more, maybe just today's music. And I think we're going to move all around. It's just I go by the theme of the specific weekend. And this weekend, for example, this weekend is going to be 80s. Next weekend is going to be the best of the 90s. So we'll dabble in that too. But it has been a blast, and you folks have given me an incredible response and then shown them in the process that, hey, why not do that on Saturday? Because it's something that remains an untapped resource. It used to be prevalent. It used to be prominent. You could always count on it. Somebody was going to be live, playing music, playing your request, keeping you juiced on a Saturday night. Now, again, the times were different, but certainly the times were different from now because then you're out and about and you're going out and you're getting ready to go out to party. Now everybody's kind of sheltered in and you're needing something to do, and I want to be there to entertain you. And in the process, we kind of treat it like this show where you just call in and request what you want, and I kind of cut you loose, and I'll put you over the top of a song. Just like this, we'll put you on the air. But we're going to do that coming up again tomorrow night beginning at 6 o'clock. It's an all-'80s weekend, and I'll do some all-'80s requests, and we got some good stuff. I got some stuff in my head. There's no playlist. There's nothing I go to. I wipe the playlist clean for 4 hours, and I play either whatever I want or whatever you want. It's all us. It's not what anybody else wants. It's all us. And in the process tomorrow night, because he's not able to celebrate his birthday per normal, because of the shut-in or the shelter-in, my man BT Do, we're going to make that a BT Do birthday party / Saturday night all-request in-house party. In honor of our friend BT Do, who is going to celebrate a birthday coming up tomorrow. Yeah, CJ Law, I mean, they put Lardass in there and say, oh, there's JMV. I've never, ever eaten a pie like that in front of anybody. I guarantee it. And then I'm the one that had to field the calls. You've got to stop this right now. I'm so offended. What am I going to do? Like every other message is like me getting ripped. I mean, hell, if I can take it, somebody others can take it. For goodness sake. That's pretty funny, though. Hey, tomorrow night's going to be fun. 6 o'clock, you guys all going to be there? 6 until 10. It's a hashtag JMV Takeover. And go ahead and work that whenever you want. Hashtag JMV Takeover. And tomorrow night, your photos and your videos I want sent from where you are to. Shout out to Jalen Reynolds and his dad. Listen, Jalen dances. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. So I do want to get a feel for what you're doing, how you're listening. So we'll do videos and photos and the like coming up tomorrow. Hashtag JMV Takeover. You can put those there and your requests and comments and so on and so forth as well. All right, 239-1070. Email address at jmv@1070thefan.com. What Chris Ballard had to say about next week's draft, we'll dive into that with Mike Wells coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. And what Pat Sullivan of Sullivan Hardware and Garden has to say about the weather, your yard, and what we should be doing outside. It's yet another segment of hashtag Ask Pat coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And anything goes. We always got to kick off the weekend in style with a session of Anything Goes coming up at 6 o'clock for you. 239-1070. Email address, jmv@1070thefan.com. On Twitter at jmv1070. And inside YouTube right now, have a ball with my friends, Larry Brown and Brad. Jonah's out in Arizona. John McClain. Caleb. Have a party there. Have a blast. Inside the YouTube channel live. We'll do that. Other side, Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk, and your calls at 239-1070. Back with you next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Chris Sims.
DeForest Buckner. The Colts got a hell of a player there. One of the best interior D linemen in football. Stats really won't tell how awesome he is. Phillip Rivers is still tough as hell, a playmaker. I just worry about his carelessness with the ball. He can win you games. The problem is he can lose you games too.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, buy 3 tires, get 1 free. No credit needed financing options available. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
It's been said the night is always darkest just before the dawn. Maybe you can relate right now. But make no mistake about it, a new day is dawning. Opportunity and promise are on the horizon for all of us. And just like in high school sports, we'll trust honesty, empathy, hard work, and humility to bring out the best in us and show us the way. The IHSAA will look for you at a high school game or meet very soon.
Don't know what lies in the weeks to come, but one thing is certain. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, and there's never been a better time to be looking at a cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
working our way to the NFL draft.
5 or 6 offensive players, that's probably the best route.
There are so many different wide receivers here.
Phillip Rivers as your quarterback. He's one of those guys that is all about football.
You know what I believe the Colts need?
Almost too committed to the run game not to have a fullback.
You just want to get back in the postseason picture.
Let's bring a herd of players here.
If you're talking about it,
So steadfast in building the offensive line.
we're talking about it. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
JMV does not suck at all.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, sweat ho! Brian writes this. COVID-19 parenting. JMV, quote, or it's your ass. Is a great way to parent during COVID-19. Well done. I think he knows what I mean by that, though. I'm just making sure that my point has been made perfectly clear when it comes to e-learning right now. And I bet you all of you are in full agreement with that. Just making sure my point is made and absolutely understood. JMV, I'm drinking a White Russian now on the clock. Well done out of you, John McClain. I just got a cup of coffee here. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline, friend of the show, Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk tonight, tomorrow night, joins us from his palatial estate down in Franklin inside Johnson County. How's everything going?
Great, John. How are you?
Am I going to join you again tomorrow night?
You can if you want.
Call me at 11. What time did you call me? 11, 11:30?
I think we got you at 11:30.
I was wound up, man.
Yeah,
I was wound up.
Yeah, yes, you were. You were still high from that big takeover. You know, it takes a while to wind down.
It does.
People don't realize.
It does.
You just can't. I don't even get to sleep until around 2. You just can't get off the show and go to sleep. It's not easy to do.
It's funny because back when we were living in normal times and I was playing pickup basketball, we'd play at night. I'd be done about 11 o'clock some evenings, and I couldn't get to sleep till like 1:30. That's why I'm sleeping for like 12 hours, I think, a night now. So it's great.
You just need to build your own gym and get back to hooping. You know, that's what you need.
Oh, I should. We have been doing, my daughter has been doing the basketball workouts on Zoom. So
okay.
So yeah, with the other girls and the stuff, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's good. That's great. Great stuff. And you know what? It's kind of fun to watch and see how creative coaches and people are getting, trying to stay connected. And obviously, with the e-learning and the ways people are doing it, you know, I teach a class at IUPUI. I'm still a little old school, John. I'm just doing it through email, stuff like that. But, you know, I might get into the 21st century sometime soon.
Well, it's kind of funny. Coach Stapek will find on YouTube a Pete Maravich workout video, and the next day they're all doing the ball tosses above their head and stuff. You remember when he slapped it back and forth off his fingertips, right?
Oh,
they'll be doing that. They'll be doing some Maravich stuff.
They need to. That's a staple in terms of getting better as a basketball player.
It is. Do they still do the Mikan drill?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, the Mikan drill. I remember doing the Mikan drill. That was like you would have like 5 or 6 absolutes, and that was right. One of the 5 or 6 absolutes, the Mikan drill.
Well, it's funny, you know, a couple of classes I teach, I bring that up and say, you know, if you're familiar with the Mikan drill, and they look at me and I go, okay, and then I demonstrate the drill, and they go, well, yeah, we've all done that drill. We didn't know what that was called. And then, you know, that's when I'm teaching history of basketball and trying to talk about the impact that George Mikan had on the creation of the NBA. And I'll go, you've all done the Mikan drill, and they'll go, huh? I go, yeah. And I show them, they go, oh, yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy. He did that. That's part of why it was so good.
Yeah, no question. Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talks on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Talk about the effect that college basketball, once we do see it again and we're back to running again, will endure with what's going on right now with the massive defections from school to school inside the transfer portal, and then many of these guys just saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and bounce and go to the G League. I for one, I'm going to sit here and say everything's going to be okay, but others around us suggest not. What do you think?
Well, I think it's it's a time of uncertainty for a lot of reasons. I'm not exactly sure that I fully understand all of what it is. But I think my bigger concern would be from a financial standpoint. Will these colleges and universities have there's no way they'll come back with the same resources they have right now. You already see that certain schools are asking staffs to take 10 or 15% pay cuts. You're going to lose massive amounts of income from the NCAA.
Right.
And if football doesn't get started on time, or if they're not able to play a full schedule, the economic impact will just be incredible. And now you're starting to talk about, you're already seeing schools start to drop programs. You're already beginning to see that. And so, yeah, it's clear that basketball will change. I tend to believe that the concept of people leaving early to go to the G League and all that stuff, I don't know that it has – I don't know how much of an effect it will have. Certainly it will impact a number of schools. How many, don't know. I still think that the Power 5 schools are going to have quality players and a lot of good players. They'll play exciting basketball, but I think it's too early to tell. I think the bigger concern, rather than worrying about who's leaving to go play in the G League or not, or who's transferring from here to there, you need to worry about whether or not you're going to have enough money to support their program.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we are now. Because, I mean, even when we get on the other side of this, I mean, there's still going to be mountains to climb, to even get in the territory in which we all were, or college hoops, or just in general, our general stance just to get back there. I mean, that stuff we haven't even thought about yet. Is once, it is clear and you're feeling good, how long is it going to take just to really get back to normal, Bob?
Well, it's a great question, John. And I mean, without a vaccine, would you actually go to an NCAA tournament game?
I would,
without
yeah.
a vaccine?
Oh, hell yeah, I would. I feel bulletproof though. I need to shut up. See, I mean that's.
Feel bullet. Yeah, I don't feel. Yeah,
I know, and I know what you mean, and I'm not advising anybody to feel that way, because I do. I consider my family, and I consider my mom, who's 70+ years old. But I just know me, and maybe it's a combination of feeling like I feel fine, and then
right.
I've got too much jackass in me, I guess. Right. So what are you gonna do?
Well, but I think the issue is, once people try to get back to normal, how much of an impact does it have on the number of people who go to games?
Right.
And high school football, college football, professional football, basketball, on down the line. You're already seeing in our culture, before all this started, and we've talked about this, you're already seeing live events having trouble getting people to come to them. Attendance is down at live events, sports, concerts, those kinds of things. Certain things will draw huge crowds, but then on balance, they're flat or declining in terms of live event participation by people. And now throw this into the mix. Again, it's going to be – just think about this. If your crowd's down 10% at a Power 5 football school, you're talking about millions of dollars, and those football programs – finance a lot of the other programs in their schools. On a Friday night in high school football around the state of Indiana, athletic directors cringe when there's bad weather on Friday night, because it's going to hurt their gate, and hurting their gate's going to hurt their soccer program or their girls' tennis program, because that's real money that's not being able to be passed on to other sports. So this is a real issue that I don't think anybody has an idea the impact it's going to have on sports around the country.
It's Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talks on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. If you don't mind, I kind of want to flip that question you asked, which is a good one, because you're holed up. You haven't been out because this would affect you at the highest level, at a top level. Have you thought about when might be a time for you to return or go back or to go back to normal? Have you thought about that at all, longer term?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about it. I think about it all the time. I think everybody understands. I'm not a young guy. I'm 69, and I'm thinking right now. I teach a class in the spring and 2 in the fall at IUPUI, I read where Purdue is thinking they're already making plans to begin the fall semester doing remote education without students on campus. So, yeah, I think about it. I think I'm fortunate because, and you and I have talked about this before, our colleagues at Emmis allow me and others to work from home during this crisis, and how long they'll be willing to do that, I would assume they'll do it for a while. But for my wife and I, we have and will continue to restrict our activities to my wife has not been, literally, John, has not been away from the house since this whole thing started. And the only reasons I've been out of the house have been to go to Walmart and Kroger, and that's it. That's the end of our trips. And we're going to continue that because of our age and because of underlying health issues we have. And looking forward, I don't see us changing that again until there's some level of guarantee that there's a certain level of safety. I wouldn't go so far as to say not doing it until we get a vaccine, because that's a long way away. But, yeah, we're going to continue to restrict what we do because we believe we know, let's see, with I think we know personally 5 people who have died of the virus, complications from the virus.
Yep.
And so to us, it's real. It's very, very real. It's close to us, but by the grace of God, we've not been affected personally. So yeah, I mean, we're going to restrict and change what we do going forward. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just going to be, I think, in general, that's going to be our daily existence for the foreseeable future, Bob. It's just gone.
I don't think there's any question. And we're close enough, I suppose, with both of us being the same age. We never talk about the R word in our house, but from time to time it starts to creep up right now and figure out what you want to do. So, I mean, I'm having too much fun doing what I do. I can't believe that you and I get paid to talk about sports, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can. But I'm mindful that my time horizon on being able to do things is I don't have a lot of years, so just try to squeeze out what I can.
It's a Bob Level Indiana Sports Talk tonight, tomorrow night, across the Network Indiana affiliates of this fine state. One, WITZ, AM and FM, Jasper Huntingburg. And I reached out to my friends at Schnitzelbank yesterday, and Alan of the gang down there says they're still offering carryout. Nothing is the same yet, but they're muddling through this with carryout right now. And when we do kind of open back up, I'm going to go down there, and I am just going to get sloshed in their bar.
It's surprising to hear you say that.
Yes, I said I'll be swimming in Das Boot whenever we reopen things up.
They really are. You know what? They need to FedEx you some food.
Well, the last time they dropped some off, and by the time I got back, I think Todd and the boys devoured it, which is okay.
Well, it's in that part of the state. There's no question.
Which is okay. It's all good, man. So I can get down there at any time. But anyway, hey, stay healthy. Keep doing what you do. And if you need me for any long-form conversations on either night, just call.
Right. I'll do that. You know that.
And I've, like I said, I've been sleeping for like 12 hours a night, but I'll make sure that I'm up whenever you call.
I'll do that. All right, John.
Hey, it's always good. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Stay healthy, and we'll talk at you on Saturday night. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk. Great guy. Yeah, I did. I did talk to Alan from Schnitzelbank yesterday, and he said that they're going through carryout still. And we're still, if you guys want to, we're still doing local biz shout-outs if you want to do that. And I know everybody around here, we're still, it's not the same, and it's not going to be the same, but to try to help is to try to help. That's what the hope is, as much as possible. JMV, last weekend I cooked Boston butt on the Big Green Egg. That's a hashtag Ask Patter right there. I'm going to save that. Boston butt? I don't know what Boston butt is. I'll save it. JMV I don't get sick all the time. I was sick. When was I sick? I think I missed a day, right? Was it in November or December? I sometimes will get sick when there's a drastic change in temp. But, I mean, I live with kids, and the kids are going to school, and they're coming home. I mean, think about all the stuff I got to fight off on a daily basis. Every doorknob that's been touched. Nah, I fight it. I used to, and this is true, and I think probably it was because I was younger, but I remember back when we used to we'd play basketball in the morning with Mark Barnheiser at 5:30 in the morning. We would get up every day, and this would be a 7-day-a-week thing. I mean, we would do it on Saturday and Sunday, too. And I always thought, you go to bed not feeling well, you get up, still play, and I always thought you kind of sweated it out of yourself a little bit. Hell, I think that was back when I was 20. I don't even know if I was covered by insurance then. But as you get older, there's no question. No, you got to take precautions. And the one thing that I said I'm doing, and I don't know if this is safe or not, and certainly there's no medical definition of background saying that I should do this or shouldn't do it, but I've tried to sleep a lot more because I was a non-sleeper. I'm 5.5 hours a night on the reg. But in the past month, I have tried to sleep a hell of a lot more, and I'm diving in the sack and getting upwards of 10-plus hours. I'm having some vivid damn dreams, too. I'm having some Jim Morrison specials, like some vivid stuff. But I've been trying to get double-digit hours of sleep per night, and for me, I feel a hell of a lot better. And the other part of it is, I'm not like you guys. I mean, you guys are out there working your asses off, and I mean, I come in here and talk for 3 hours. I mean, I'm not pulling the tough stuff, the tough duty that you guys are, and that's another part of it. But yeah, since I have noticed that a lot of things when you get to this age, like when I honestly think back to where I was, 15 years ago, especially 20 years ago, yeah, it's not even in the ballpark of the same. It's not. You want it to be in your mind. In your mind, you think it is, but the rest of you is just not cooperating. So true. Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk, tonight, tomorrow night, Network Indiana. You can hear it right here. He's great. Bob Lovell, 1075thefan.com. Hashtag Ask Pat, Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden in the 5 o'clock hour. Anything goes for you coming up at 6. Top of the hour, Mike Wells, ESPN.com. So did it mean from Chris Ballard when he suggested, unprompted, mind you, that he wished he had more tick? I was trying to do my man on fire there. I wish I had more picks. Does that mean maybe a trade down scenario? If they draft a quarterback, are they not forcing it? Is it somebody they like? Mike Wells, that and more coming up at the top of the hour. 93.5 and 107.5 FM, The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Simon Pagenaud. How weird is it going to be to do a 500 in August?
It changes the tradition for sure, but it's important that we race Indy. If there's only one race this year, I'd love it to be just Indy. It's the most important race of the year. It's the biggest race in the world, so it will be hot, but I have no doubt we can be ready for it, so I'm excited.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Shut in or just hanging out. Nice thing about Kevin Bowen's podcast and the latest sports news is you can listen anytime, anywhere. 1075thefan.com or your inbox for free.
Mortgage interest rates are sitting near historic low levels, and we are saving homeowners hundreds of dollars a month on a refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
Why you'll have to stay home a little longer. From the WIBC Newsroom, I'm Rob Connett with a coronavirus update. Governor Holcomb says on Monday he will once again extend the statewide stay-at-home order, now to Friday, May 1st.
That's not to say that we're going to pull up immediately after that. It just means it's going to allow us to make some changes or some tweaks, some accommodations as we see appropriate around the state of Indiana.
He says we still have a lot of work to do to beat the virus. That means non-essential businesses will remain closed, and some Hoosiers are upset about that. Robert Hull is leading a peaceful protest at the governor's mansion on Saturday afternoon.
It's destroying people's lives. It's going to cause more harm than what the the coronavirus could have done.
He says it's unconstitutional for the governor to shut down the economy, and he expects at least 100 people to show up. I'm Rob Connett from the WIBC Newsroom.
Hey, join me on Monday. We're going to talk Colts draft all week. It is draft week here on The Fan, and I can't wait. Who are the Colts going to pick? Are they going to trade up, trade down? I don't know. We'll talk about it.
The Ride with JMV.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I guess the only thing I can say is I'll promise to keep rocking and rolling and making better films.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Oh, man, that's the wrong one. I didn't want to play that. I wanted to play Pearl Jam. My bad. I get to that. See, that's what happens. That can happen on B Down the Hall tomorrow night. I might end up doing that. What the hell is this? Pals over there, I'm John. Thank you for joining us. Bob Lovell. Podcast 1075thefan.com. Hey, shout out to Kevin Bowen last night. Kevin did a great job on Claws with Bowen. Mike Wells here at the top of the hour. Pat Sullivan in studio for hashtag Ask Pat and Anything Goes coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. David Duncan writes this, so I'm heading back to Anderson from the Hote, listening to the show, driving by 6th Avenue Dancers. Yeah, honk. Yesterday was National Horny Day, so honk if you're horny. Yesterday. Still today. The Ride with JMV is on YouTube Live, too, if you guys want to jump on board. Coach's Tavern selling growlers. If you go downtown, $10 for domestic, $15 for craft. My man Tommy Sutton. Love little Tommy Sutton, friend of the show. Shout out to Tommy and Coaches if you want to grab a growler on your way by. JMV, never get less than 12 hours sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the same name as a city. And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body. Live by that and everything else is cream cheese. That is the great head coach of the Beavers, Bobby Finstock in Teen Wolf. Direct quote right there. That's well done. Mike Wells, top of the hour. Clint talks Colts draft at 239-1070. Hello, Clint. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for shouting out Schnitzelbank. I'm from Jasper.
I love the Schnitzelbank. Yes, and I mentioned this to Alan the other day, Clint. Schnitzelbank, it goes back for me generationally because my grandparents first took me there when I was little. When we would drive to Jasper from GC, and it was generational,
Gotcha.
and I love it just as much today as I did back then.
All right. I listen to you a lot, and you give plenty of shout-outs to down there. So my cousin still works there, so it's great to hear.
All right, if you have got any other shout-outs down in DuBois County or the surrounding area, let me know. We'll give it love.
I'll give it some thought, actually. Yeah, not right now, I guess, but Schnitzelbank's perfect one, I think.
Sure, go ahead.
Also, I wanted to talk to you about what do you think about Jordan Love slipping down? They said the Patriots are thinking about drafting him now. Yeah. Do you think the Colts maybe traded that 13 too early, or is that still a good move?
No, I think that they wanted DeForest Buckner regardless, and they were fine with trading that 13. I mean, there's some, honestly, Clint, that suggest that maybe Jordan Love gets all the way to the second round. I don't believe it, but some would suggest that, and then things could get interesting. But yeah, I think that they wanted to solidify the defensive line, and they were fine with it. I don't think they were worried about, any quarterback outside of Joe Burrow missing out on with 13. Chris today sounded like he was rock solid in making that decision, and he'd do it absolutely every day.
Gotcha. That's good to hear then. At least they know what, they got a plan in place then for sure.
You got it. Anything else, Clint?
I don't think so. I just, again, appreciate that DuBois County reference down there, and I understand your GC connections too. So
one of these days, I've always thought if there was a place in Indiana that I could live that I haven't lived before, it would be Jasper. I love Jasper. Love it.
It was fun to grow up there for sure. Probably too much fun, huh?
Yeah, I love Strassenfest and fun. So.
Yeah, get some farmland down there.
I like some.
Plenty of times.
I love farmland down there too. Clint, call in anytime. Thank you. Shout out to the Schnitzelbank in Jasper, Indiana. They got carry out working. Clay wants to tell me what Boston butt is. Clay, go ahead.
Yeah, JMV, the Boston butt is the butt end of a pork shoulder, which is the best part of the pork to make pulled pork out of.
I had no idea that was the case. Are you a barbecue man, a pit master by trade?
I like to smoke me some meat, yes.
Right there with you. I suck at it bad, and I'd ruin it, but, man, do I like to do it? It's fun. I'm still trying to accomplish the feat. I do. Clay, anything else?
How about Jalen Hurts, man? I'll take Jalen Hurts in the second round.
I was told a couple months ago that maybe there was some interest there. We'll see if they end up drafting a quarterback and he's available, if that might be the direction they go. And that they're not going to have to worry. He's going to be available in the second, maybe even the third, but we'll see.
I wouldn't wait. I'd take him.
I appreciate you, Clay. Boston butt makes great pulled pork, the butt end of the shoulder. Kevin's Phillip Rivers conversations at 239-1070 now. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, John, I'm still frustrated that we didn't go after Tom Brady a little bit harder than what we did, if that was an option or not. But I wanted to call and ask you what you felt Phillip Rivers gave us that honestly that Brissett doesn't.
I guess a past of playing at a higher level. I mean, that's it. I would agree with the comparison of a year ago. I absolutely agree with you on that. But it's the past of playing at a much higher level. And I think for a lot of people around here too, Kevin, right or wrong, it's something different. It's not going into next year with the same old that everybody around here believes they've seen basically the height of. So it's those two things, I think, intertwined.
The first year we had Brissett, he played he was handcuffed. He only had just a certain percentage of the playbook, and then they started to open it up for him this year. And I think, in my opinion, I believe Brissett probably was a little bit too protective of the ball. But do you think that previous year may have got into his head, and then kind of coupled with that injury and everything that's going on, may have been kind of his detriment?
I think when you bring in a 38-year-old, $25 million quarterback and you sign him for 1 year, that regardless of what you say publicly, and they're not throwing anybody under the bus, or they're not talking about a lack of faith, but you lose all faith in the guy that you have here if you go to those means to bring in a quarterback. You just do. Writing's on the wall. Kevin,
I just hate Phillip Rivers' face.
Yeah. So yeah, they think Phillip Rivers can play at a higher level. That's just what they think. Higher level than Brissett.
I just remember during the Manning years, every time we played him those 2 years, whatever it was, and he was such a tough competitor, and gotta hate his face.
Kevin, thank you for the call. Have a great weekend. Hates Phillip Rivers' face. First time the dude throws a touchdown pass, you guys will be in love with it. Now, the first time he throws an interception, you'll hate his face again. Some of that doesn't go away. By the way, if you missed our conversation with Phillip Rivers a couple of weeks ago, podcast 1075thefan.com, we talk about those of you that feel as Kevin still feels right now. Ironically enough. Quick one. We'll come back. Mike Wells of ESPN.com, what Ballard had to say, and would he be surprised if the Colts did choose a defensive lineman with one of those second-rounders? Mike Wells of ESPN.com next.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
DeForest Buckner.
When that offer came into my agent, he, told me the offer. I mean, for a team like Indy to want me and, where they wanted to put me in, the position they were going to put me in, I mean, it's only to succeed, to put me around a lot of talented players on defense. Darius Leonard behind me, Justin Houston on the line with me. You got Kenny Moore at corner. It's a really vicious defense, and I'm excited to get things rolling now.
Dan Dockich, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Turn that off. Turn it off. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it. Well, you hired the contractor. You tell me what happened. So you're saying we cut corners?
Imagine if students on your campus were left out in the cold because somewhere someone cut corners. Building owners and customers are often kept in the dark about the risks of poorly installed mechanical insulation. The Heat and Frost Insulators Local 18 Code of Workmanship doesn't allow anything below specification. The Insulation Contractors Association of Indianapolis ensures your job is done right. Every project, every time. Learn more at insulators18.org. The Brothers and Sisters of Energy Efficiency, insulating you from escalating costs.
We are Local 18. This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BV, W228CX, Indianapolis. The Hoosiers take on Kentucky in an NCAA Tournament Classic. Wednesday night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Mike Wells, ESPN.com's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Let's bring him on the air. Go ahead, Mike.
Wait another minute. Look so fine. Eyes away. Wanna say, make you mine. Very slow, Jay.
Did you skate around holding hands at the roller rink to I Can't Wait Another Minute by High Five?
By High Five.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, I'm going to tell you now, I used to love some High Five when I was in high school, man.
What's your favorite High Five song? What is it?
The Kissing Game. Kissing Game.
Oh, man. The Kissing Game? Is that your favorite?
Yeah. You know what? The Kissing Game, Playing Hard to Get, Quality Time. I mean, I had a number of High Five favorites.
That's pretty good right there. I was trying to see which one was my favorite here. She's Playing Hard to Get, probably, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Playing hard to get was definitely up on that list.
Playing hard to get.
Here we go. Yes.
Yeah. Turn it up, Mike Wells. Say it.
Here we go. We got to let this play till we get to the words, too. Playing hard to get. Oh, yeah.
I'm doing like the background dancing behind it here, too, on YouTube Live.
Hey, my son's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm over here stacking my fingers on the couch, waiting for the words to pop out.
She likes me. Mike Wells of ESPN.com's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So what did you gather from what Chris Ballard said today? Did the whole unprovoked, I wish I had more picks, were you thinking, hey, look, they're going to trade down? Is that what you were thinking?
It definitely made me think trade in this situation. That, you know, he made sure to point out to say it was an easy decision to give up the 13th pick, but then, like I said, he came back and said, I wish I had more picks.
Yeah.
Which says, all right, he's leaving more on the table to find a way to get another pick out of the situation, which means recouping basically the one they gave up to San Francisco. Probably won't be in the first round, but yeah, he wants to get some more players out there. But I mean, I think one thing we realized about Chris Ballard is he's never going to tip his hand on anything. But yeah, him dropping that little nugget because what's going to happen is next week during the draft, if they do make trades, it's like, hey, I basically told you guys I wanted more picks, and that's just kind of the way he operates when it comes to talking about the draft.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when everybody says, Chris Ballard's always honest and upfront, and I mean, about some things, but he's really good at saying a lot and at the same time saying nothing. And that is, that's something that a lot of folks don't have, and he has that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, he's very polished, and he's a pro when the microphone's in front of him. I mean, he knows. He's kind of like Rico Suave in that area, man. He knows how to how to act like he's saying a lot when he's really not, and then just when you don't think he's saying much, he goes ahead and drops a breadcrumb and leaves it out there for everybody.
Completely agree with you on that. Mike Wells of ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, would you be more surprised at which of the following? That they trade down in one of those 2 second-rounders, or that they select a defensive lineman with one of those 2 second-rounders?
What was option number A, part one again?
If they traded down.
I would be more surprised if they selected a defensive lineman. I feel like they've got depth at that spot. I would not be surprised if they selected an offensive lineman in the second round because of what they lost in losing Joe Haig and Josh Andrews, and I think there was another guy who signed somewhere else. They're lacking depth. I would not be shocked if they took one with the second round pick. I just think it's screaming wide receiver with that second round pick for them. They just have to find a way to get some more talent at that position.
Yeah, we'll get back to wide receiver in just a second. Mike Wells of ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. When he talked about earlier today to you guys not wanting to force it at quarterback, and then you couple it with the fact they traded 13 for DeForest Buckner last month, do you think that means that they won't select a quarterback? Maybe they don't have a level of interest at the quarterback position in 2020 that others do. Does that mean any of the following?
Hey, what it means to me is they did not believe whatever quarterback was remaining on the board at 13 was worth being taken at number 13. He was probably a quarterback who should be selected lower in the first round. And so that's how I took it. I was like, all right, whether it's Jordan Love or, if it's Justin Herbert, whoever the Chargers don't take at 6, I look at it as Ballard didn't believe that guy was the guy, was, worthy of being the potential next franchise quarterback. They look at DeForest Buckner as a better upgrade for the 13th pick than selecting a quarterback there at 13.
Mike, do you think they pick a quarterback in this draft at some point?
I do think they take one. I'm not sure it'll be in the second round, though. I don't think it'll be in the second round. I could see it later in the draft, and then seeing what happens with that player as far as developing. I did find it kind of interesting how, Ballard essentially, said he doesn't have a crystal ball and he can't predict what lies ahead, but he knows that he has 2 quarterbacks in the final year of the contract. And he mentioned Jacoby Brissett. Listen, if I'm Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to do everything I have to do, and once I hit the free agent market, try to go play somewhere else. I mean, because how would you feel, Jay? Let's just say, all right, let's put it like this, Jay. You're at 1070, and somebody replaces you from 3 o'clock to 6 or 7 and says, hey, we want you to sit back and learn from this guy hosting your show.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of kissing ass stuff, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to hear that. I agree, and they can. You can sugarcoat it with we still have confidence, we still like him, but with their actions with Phillip Rivers, that just shows you that they no longer have that level of trust in him to guide this team.
Exactly. I mean, he's been in this franchise for 3 years now, and the thing he's shown is that, all right, he's not the guy to take you forward as far as taking it. I mean, he is a situational starting quarterback, which AKA means a backup quarterback in the NFL. That's what Jacoby Brissett is, and now I think the Colts realize it. They're not going to sit here and drag him through the mud, but the signing of a 38-year-old quarterback in Phillip Rivers is basically saying, Jacoby, thanks, but you're not good enough to lead the way.
Yeah, I agree. I do expect them at some point to draft a quarterback. Do you think they would have any interest in somebody that's not a prototypical guy? And certainly Jalen Hurts threw it around more than he did at Alabama while at Oklahoma, but he's not a prototypical guy. Would there be any interest there, in your opinion?
You know what? I don't know. You would think that, Frank Reich can make him into the type of quarterback he envisions, but you're right. He is completely Jalen Hurts is the opposite of what Frank Reich has dealt with in a Phillip Rivers or Carson Wentz or an Andrew Luck or Jacoby. I mean, actually, I can't put Jacoby Brissett in that same category, but he's a different breed, a type of quarterback than what Reich has had in Philly and with Luck and with the Chargers.
Part of me part of me thinks with Frank Reich it's going to be somebody prototypical, but then it kind of makes me wonder, since you have that and then some right now, maybe you kind of buy into something that you didn't. You know what I mean? Somebody that could a little more versatility, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And what would you think if, come Thursday night, you out there on your back deck sipping a cold one, or eating dinner, and all of a sudden you see or hear that the Colts traded back into the first round?
That'd be the most shocking thing. That's why I laugh. I can't see that happening as much as I can see them saying, I'd like to have more picks. And maybe that's why he said that today unprovoked. Maybe he said that as a curveball to maybe try to get back in the first round. You know what I mean? I don't know why he'd need to curveball us, but maybe who knows?
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting how it's played. Because, we've talked about this a number of times. I mean, this is a huge draft. This is a huge not only draft but off season for Chris Ballard. I think draft wise, I think we can't argue with some of the hits that he's made in the Nelsons and the Leonards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's all about wins and losses, and this is a huge off season for the Colts to try to take another step forward.
No doubt about that. And Mike Wells joins us. Did you have anybody in mind as to what might represent your theory of, would you be surprised if they traded back into the first round? Is there a hard target you had in mind at all, positionally speaking?
I figured I'd just have fun and throw it out there.
I like it. I mean, I like the idea because, really, you have to talk about anything because who the hell ends up knowing about this? But that would be, to me, I think that would be the longest of long shots right there.
Oh, yeah.
If that were to take place.
The draft board would have to be really shook up for Ballard to say, all right, we got to get back in because we did not think this guy would still be on the board at pick, whatever. Once that team gets on the clock.
Hey, Mike, there have been certain mock drafts that have Jordan Love not off the board until middle of the second round. If he's available at 34, would they draft him?
Ooh, wait, that's a great question. Ooh.
So,
think about it.
Think about it a little bit more while I continue the question. I.e., how much love kind of came out of the whole Senior Bowl thing. I mean, we talked about that a great deal, about, a ceiling and, what you like. Not the Colts specifically, but, people had reported how much interest the Colts may have had by virtue of Jordan Love. You think if he's available at 34, they would pick a quarterback there and like the quarterback position more, or because he may have been available at 13 and choosing to trade out for DeForest Buckner, does that strengthen the argument maybe that interest is just not there?
Me there at 34, you got to think hard about it. Because I'll tell you this, I was not at the Senior Bowl, but I had people who were tell me that Frank Reich kept his eyes glued on Jordan Love through, the day that Reich was out there. One of the days he was out there when the quarterbacks were throwing there, Reich was all about Jordan Love. So maybe if they're able to pull that off, that's a huge win-win for them. If they're able to give up the first-round pick, get DeForest Buckner to anchor that defensive line with Justin Houston, and then get Jordan Love still in the second round, major props to Chris Ballard for pulling that off.
You think it's a problem if they don't draft a quarterback? Because I think
I do.
Do you? Why do you think that?
Unless they say they're going to sit back and cross their fingers that Chad Kelly can stay out of trouble off the football field and be ready to take over the starting role, you're backing yourself in the corner next year, especially if Phillip Rivers struggles. And we know what Jacoby Brissett is. They're backing themselves in the corner where everybody is going to know they need a quarterback. So, when it comes to free agency, if they decide to go that route, if you're a free agent quarterback, you're like, hey, they need a quarterback, so I can take all this money. Or if you decide to take one in the draft, teams are going to try to leapfrog you. So I think it is kind of, it is backing them in the corner, and they're in a tough spot. They have to hope that Rivers plays very, very good and, hopefully get another year out of him or I don't know. It's not an ideal situation.
And that's overall the point to be made here is you sign Rivers for 1 year, but if he's not here longer than 1 year, he's a failure. That's the bottom line of it all. I mean, the expectation is that he plays to a level that gives them and him a reason to be back here next year. And if he doesn't, it's a failure. That's just it.
Yeah, he has to lead this franchise to the playoffs. I mean, why sign if you don't believe you're good enough to get to the playoffs? Why even sign a quarterback like Rivers? You might as well just go ahead and roll the dice with a young kid or whatever if you don't think the roster is good enough to get to the postseason.
Yeah, so that's kind of where they are right now, which I think would lead to some folks believing that, hey, I mean, if you draft a quarterback, especially with one of the seconds or that third rounder, that maybe you're kind of wasting it because it's not somebody that's going to be it or relevant on this team, at least expectation-wise, anytime soon. So that's kind of the point people have been making to me as well, as far as why it's not essentially that important to draft a quarterback coming up next week.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it is essential. They got to be able to try to.
I think they're going to. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to as well. But I mean, I don't know if it's a Jalen Hurts type. I don't know if it's more prototypical. I've had people been trying to sell me on the kid from Washington State. I think Anthony. What's his name? Anthony Webster. Is that his name? I can't remember what the hell his name is. Weaver or something. And then you had Eason and the prototypical guys like that. So.
Yeah, and the Froms and stuff. So yeah. No, it'll be interesting on how it plays out, man. So they I still believe they need to like I said, we talked about the offensive line.
Yeah.
You can't I think tight end a position they need to address in the draft. So they need, it's not like they're a player or two. They just need to focus on one or two positions. I mean, Xavier Rhodes, you're essentially hoping that he can get back to his form. Quincy Wilson has failed to live up to any kind of expectation since he's been here. So there's definitely more needs on this roster.
He's Mike Wells of ESPN.com on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Bigger wide receiver or a smaller wide receiver?
Big.
I'm thinking big too. Mike, it's funny. Charles Arbuckle came on Monday and did a great sell job on Michael Pittman Jr. from USC, and it might only made a lot of sense to me, but to Kyle and to other folks out there too. And a lot of people here know Chase Claypool and think he has tremendous upside and want the Colts to go that direction. Maybe he's there, maybe he's not. But I think essentially Charles sold us on Michael Pittman Jr. on Monday.
So you're all in on him?
Yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. Yeah.
Hey, I see. Yeah, he had over 1,000. He had over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, where are you? Have you made a mock? Have you made your picks in a mock draft?
No. I did not make a mock, especially with them not having a first round pick. So I did not make a mock. I just paid attention to guys that are potentially could be there still. Claypool is somebody that Matt Bowen at ESPN is real high on too. He talked about him as a potential target for the Colts in the second round. Obviously Pittman Jr. and then the Clemson kid too. What if he
T. Higgins
if he falls? Yeah, if he's on the board, if he doesn't get drafted in the first round, that's another possibility.
Mike Wells of ESPN.com's with us. What was that?
Man, I was my other phone. I hit an Instagram story. Somebody doing yoga, and I'm not doing yoga.
Hey, you guys asked at the end of the presser today about what they're doing at the Ballard home to ensure that this goes over, and the generator and the backup internet. Did you see today an Indiana Election Commission meeting held over Zoom today was interrupted by porn? Did you know that?
No, what happened?
Yeah, some guy got hacked into it and was chafing the carrot.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. He was flogging the dolphin right in front of everybody on Zoom.
So he was on Zoom taking part.
I didn't see it. I just saw somebody tweet about it, and then I saw the story courtesy of the Indy Star. An Indiana Election Commission meeting held over Zoom today was interrupted with porn. Zoom is a popular video conferencing site that people have turned to. I'm trying to see where I get okay. Commissioner Paul Okeson said Friday the noon meeting, which was public and open to anyone to join, was interrupted with a pornographic image at the beginning, and it was swiftly taken care of. So apparently somebody was chafing the carrot right at the beginning of this.
Hey, that swiftly taken care of has a number of different meanings right there.
Hey, it ain't swift enough.
Hey, taken care of could have been done real quick. Hey,
man, when the Patriots are on the board, man, in honor of Robert Kraft or something, somebody's be cutting in, flogging the Dolphin. You know what I mean? Right before that.
Oh my God! Or they're gonna put or you're gonna see somebody coming in. You're gonna see a massage parlor pop up in the background.
I don't care what anybody says. With that being a possibility, that has to scare folks to death right there. A story like that.
Oh, that is hysterical, man. Wow. I'm going to read that story in the Indy Star, man.
Yeah, do it. It's not – I saw – I think her name is it may be Mary Beth Snyder. She worked there when you were there back in the day. She was the one that tweeted about it. Let me see if I can – I'm going to see if I can find the tweet while you're on here as well. Oh my
God!
And I'm gonna see what she said. What she said was a little bit more to the point than how it was described in the Star. And then I'm trying to see. I can't get past all this other crap right now. Hold on, no, not there yet. Nope, not there yet. Trying to find it here. Oh, I wish I could find it. I can't find it now.
I got Mary Beth Snyder. She tweeted about it?
Yeah, here it is. Here, now I got it. I'm sorry, everybody. This is terrible radio. Yeah, Mary Beth Snyder, holy moly, Indiana Election Commission meeting had just started on Zoom when someone switched video to them chafing the carrot, or she's talking about, you know what I mean. My eyes. She apparently saw it. Yeah, she saw it.
Oh, I see the jokes. I could continue going with
somebody was rubbing one out there right in front of everybody.
Oh my goodness! She says, "My eyes, my eyes." I was squinting. My
eyes. we shouldn't be laughing, because that's got to be their worst nightmare. That's got to be.
Oh my goodness! She was like, "Oh, I can't say anymore.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And you know me, the fact that I can work in all these different phrases for doing that is wonderful. It just made my Friday right there. It did.
Oh, man, I am loving this, man. That is hysterical. Hey, I'm not going to click the like button on Mary Beth's tweet because somebody will flag it down and say, "Oh, my God, Wells thought that was funny."
Wells wants to see porn during the NFL draft. That's what it's going to be. That's great. Hey, by the way, your friend Freddie Coleman was on Wednesday. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome conversation. Nah, he was good. Really good. So.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, hey, Freddie's a pro, man. I have a good time. I need things to get back to normal so I can get back to being on with him, get with him during the week.
Yeah, and one of these days it will. He's a great dude, though, and the one thing that stuck out to me, because I mentioned this too, is he says that they're trying to keep it as normal as right now stories as possible, instead of going to the greatest of and the best of all time and the Mount Rushmore ofs and stuff, and I agree with that. That's kind of what we've done here, and probably running some of it into the ground. But let's face it, we run NFL stuff around here into the ground anyway, so that is normalcy. That is commonplace.
Exactly. So now, Freddie definitely knows what he's doing and stuff, man. Hey, but I gotta get running, my brother.
Go.
Man. Hey, have a great weekend, man, and we'll be talking about either a first-round pick or what to look for in the second round next Friday.
Call me tomorrow night, JMV Takeover on B. Call me. Give me a request.
All right, brother. Kill it tomorrow.
You'll do it. See you, man. Take it easy. Mike Wells of ESPN.com. Hey, did anybody see the chafing of the carrot actually happen today? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? An Indiana Election Commission over Zoom was interrupted with porn. And I guess it was some guy enjoying himself. Self-gratifying video. You laughing over there, too. I know I've gone 19 different ways with this now. That's great. Okeson said the Zoom meeting, the commission's second such meeting, was managed by Stuart Richardson, a court reporting firm that offers video conferencing services. Indy Stars left a message for a Stuart Richardson representative. Well, I'm going to go ahead and leave a message right now, too. I'm kind of curious about this myself. Several Indy journalists tweeted about the meeting disruption, with one calling it quick but startling. Well, hell yeah. Last thing you're thinking about with one of the, think about that. Yeah, I'm just to cover the Indiana Election Commission meeting being held right now. Oh, there's somebody chafing the carrot. Yeah. I'd think that'd be startling. I don't want to see it. I'll laugh about it, but I don't want to see it. So I'm going to leave a message right now. I'm going to leave a public message in this case. What are they called again? Stuart Richardson? I'm going to leave a public message for Stuart Richardson asking what the hell happened. The FBI Boston Division issued a warning about Zoom bombing on March the 30th after several incidents at schools in the division's area. Officials advised that Zoom meetings not be made public. Anyway, that was earlier today. You guys wanted to hear that story even more than I wanted to hear that story. Come on now. You know you did. His body is a wonderland. No. Julian Speed writes this. Regarding the draft, JMV, Pittman Jr. will go fast. Would be great Colts pick. Listen, Charles Arbuckle on Monday's show, if you missed it, 1075thefan.com, go back and listen to it. And it wasn't just, hey, pick this guy because that's who I threw a dart on the dartboard at. No, he gave us reasons as to why he would go Pittman Jr. because we were fully involved in the bigger-bodied wide receiver. And he gave succinct reasons as to why he would select Pittman Jr. over Claypool. If you missed any of that, it was a great conversation, 1075thefan.com. For those of you that are asking, Rick Venturi returns on Monday. He's going to join us at 4. He's going to also take your calls. He is absolutely up to date on everything right now. He called me excited. So Rick Venturi on Monday at 4 o'clock, and we'll be taking some calls as well. It's going to be a big draft Monday show with the return of Rick Venturi at 4 o'clock coming up on Monday. That should be great. All right, 239-1070. Email address, jmv at 1070thefan.com. YouTube Live, Larry Brown, Dustin Lytle, John McClain, everybody's involved. Let's build it, too. The drive time's not the same right now. So YouTube Live, we'll take it. YouTube Live, 1075 The Fan, and all other conventional ways of reaching us, including your calls, which I have time for next at 239-1070.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Chris Sims.
DeForest Buckner. The Colts got a hell of a player there. One of the best interior D linemen in football. Stats really won't tell how awesome he is. Phillip Rivers is still tough as hell, a playmaker. I just worry about his carelessness with the ball. He can win you games. The problem is he can lose you games too.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's John for Indiana's best. It's Andy Moore Toyota in Avon, 5 miles west of 465 on US 36. All CDC recommended precautions as they stay open, they are taking, no doubt about it. But you can go contactless if you want. Here's why. Because their website is fantastic. You can find through the acres of vehicles that they have right now the ride of your choice, and you can see it from every single conceivable angle. Learn all about it online at AndyMooreToyota.com. Again, AndyMooreToyota.com. And then you'll let Ben Mendoza and the staff go to work for you. You're not going to find a group that are better prepared to give you the absolute best service and the greatest deal on a new set of wheels than Indiana's best. That's why I call them that, because they are. We've been working together for 10 years. Love them dearly. It's Indiana's best. Andy Moore, Toyota in Avon. Tell Ben Mendoza that I sent you. And remember, they're practicing all CDC recommended guidelines for cleanliness, making sure they're testing their employees, giving that peace of mind. Plus, you can go contactless online at AndyMooreToyota.com. 5 miles west of 465 on US 36.
The Fan is taking care of local restaurants with Take Care Takeout Indy. We'll highlight Central Indiana eateries offering takeout and their specials and offers. If you'd like your restaurant to be featured, go to 1075thefan.com and click on the Take Care Takeout Indy link, and we'll showcase your restaurant on our website. We'll even be talking about the great places listed. Take care of our families, neighbors, friends, and our local entrepreneurs by joining Take Care Takeout Indy. Made possible by MS Communications.
Working our way to the NFL draft.
5 or 6 offensive players. That's probably the best route.
There are so many different wide receivers here.
Phillip Rivers as your quarterback. He's one of those guys that is all about football.
You know what I believe the Colts need?
Almost too committed to the run game not to have a fullback.
You just want to get back in the postseason picture.
Let's bring a herd of players here.
If you're talking about it.
So steadfast in building the offensive line.
We're talking about it. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, talent, and I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Thank you very much, sir.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
No, thank you for joining us. Bob Lovell, Mike Wells, podcast 1075thefan.com. Pat Sullivan in studio, hashtag Ask Pat. I got an Anything Goes. That is coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, too. David Bayer says JMV at 1070thefan.com. Someone was just trying to act out the taxpayers getting screwed by politicians. JMV from Greg Galt regarding Boston butt. It's a cut of pork that's similar to the shoulder, but I think it's a bit more marbled with fat. Generally, they're smaller than the shoulder, and despite the name, it's from the same area of the hog as the shoulder. Guys are on it. Appreciate it. Yeah, JMV, did you notice that Pittman Jr. is getting a lot of buzz? I just know that we had Charles Arbuckle come on here, and that inspired a lot of folks. It did. JMV, I think we could trade up 34 to 31 or 32 to draft Jordan Love, get an extra year under contract a la the Ravens when they traded up to 32 to get Lamar Jackson in 2018. Yes, there's a different angle to get at too, Adam. Thank you. Draft conversation or whatever the hell you want to talk about at 239-1070. Jonathan is up next. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, how you doing, JMV?
Great.
It's a great Friday to be outside, obviously.
Yes, it looks fantastic out there right now. Looks like a hell of a day.
What's going on? Yeah, well, I wanted to say that I do agree with the 34 pick needing to be a receiver for obvious reasons. If you think about a quarterback, even if we're going to have a season this year, quarterback would be a third stringer for 1 year and then a second stringer probably the next year. Wide receiver could be the starter this year. I didn't see a whole lot of Paris Campbell, but Pittman seems like a reach in all the mocks I've seen. I don't have anything against him. It's just based on his, I think they say his technique. But Chenault and Claypool seem more realistic. Like Mims would be gone in the first round. I don't have anything against Jordan Love as a quarterback. He's probably in most mocks, though, I think going either Saints or the Patriots in the first round.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that a lot, but
it varies. I mean, the one we were going with the Athletic, and the Athletic had Love available at 34, and actually has the Colts picking him.
Yeah, I can't believe Chenault was 11 in the original forecast, of the draft, and then he has this minor surgery that doesn't really impact him a lot.
And you can tell, Jonathan, that some of these draft services, some of these mocks, they don't give as much of an indicator of the popularity of the wide receiver as others. And the Athletic is one of them, because I saw early on, like ESPN and a couple of others, maybe the NFL Network, had wide receivers like 8 or 9 off the board before the Colts selected at 34, whereas this Athletic has a lot of these guys, has T. Higgins buried in late second round, early third round.
That's crazy. Yeah, if Justin Jefferson from LSU is in the first round, I know he was on national champion, but if he's in the first round, I think Higgins should be before him, even if it's close. based on production and frame size and speed and all that.
Right.
And and I'm worried that Ballard might go for a defensive end. I don't know why I keep hearing that talk, because I have a lot of respect for
right.
Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Yep.
Even if defensive end was 44, I think that's just completely unnecessary. Toure, I think, is on the depth chart right behind him, behind Muhammad, and Muhammad had 5.5 sacks last year, even not thinking of him as a starter. So I think it's a great opportunity. Kuiper, you probably know, has Eason at 44. Eason's such a boomer bust by most sources because he doesn't handle pressure too well. But I think out of all the traits, if you want a quarterback of the future, that's probably one of the more coachable aspects, is just getting them to calm down and see the field at all times, no matter what's going on around you, because if he's smart enough and he's got the strongest arm in the draft, he's probably worth it.
Who's the kid? The reason why I brought up defensive lineman, who's the kid from Iowa that's slated to be in there that's kind of an edge rushing guy? Yeah, that's the guy that I was thinking about. I think Mike Wells was alluding to offensive lineman and maybe the Josh Jones from Houston, the tackle. But I was kind of thinking of the kid from Iowa when I was bringing up the possibilities of a defensive lineman a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, that's cool, because Ebenezer could be a defensive tackle in a 4-3, which I think we're already set. But he's big. He's so big. I think he's more of like an end in a 3-4, which we don't have. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's definitely valuable. Josh Jones, I've never seen him falling in the second round. I think he's pretty well regarded. Ezra Cleveland had been mentioned on the Colts website as somebody that Ballard really likes. He's a Boise State offensive tackle, and a tremendous work ethic. That's the other thing I wanted to bring up. It seems like we're always looking for high character people, and I've never had a problem with that at all. And he's like one of those really great guys. Maybe people are talking about Pittman being a good fit for the Colts because he has a good, solid reputation as a person.
Yeah.
And therefore, it wouldn't interfere.
That was mentioned on Monday, too. Yeah, that's no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, not that there's anything negative about Chenal outside of the whatever required him to have a surgery, but I think it might have been Arthur.
Well, and here's the point Jonathan will make as well, is it appears that the Colts may have some options at wide receiver because there is such a depth to it. So maybe you got some options where you're not necessarily absolutely tied in at 34 if somebody were to slide. So that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Anything else, Jonathan?
Yeah, I don't think he's a trade-up guy in the first round by any means. As far as what we've seen with Ballard so far, a lot of the big target receivers and tight ends, which we need badly, also are in the third round. Bryson Hopkins might get a little brownie points for being Purdue guy. Yeah. Hunter Bryant, who would be a nice familiar face, is from Washington. So if we took Eason, it might not hurt to have a target of his come right with him. The only knock on him, and this is the only reason he's not as the number one Cole Kmet is at tight end, is that he's like 6'2". But
and we've tossed around the Troutman kid from Dayton. I tell you what, John, I got to run here, but that's great info. I appreciate you, man. Really good call. I appreciate that. We've talked about Troutman here a number of times. Maybe in the third round. I thought Jonathan was all over it. That was an inspiring phone call right there. What do you think, Jonathan or Brent earlier this week? Jonathan just raised the bar on this son of a gun. Hey, JMV, first sign of stimulus checks in. Terre Haute. That's not Terre Haute. What? I don't even know if I haven't even looked. You guys all getting yours out? Did you get a stimulus check? Huh. Nothing. JMV, have you read this? No, the Joe Buck. This porn site wants Joe Buck to call the action. I mean, what? That would be very Brockmeyer, though. That's like Brockmeyer. If you watch Brockmeyer on IFC, Brockmeyer would call He would call the play-by-play action for a porn site. He would. Joe Buck, Jim Nantz, Mike Tirico, no, but Brockmeyer would. That is for real. This is from Jay Law. How about a JMV takeover on Zoom as well this weekend if you want to trend to number one, just tossing out ideas. Can I do Zoom from in there? Could I? No? My phone, I guess, right? My camera phone. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would want to see me freaking out, though, when the song's running out with 15 seconds to go and I have no idea what I'm going to play next. You guys want to see that? James, check that. I'm sorry. Alex is up next at 239-1070. Alex, go ahead. How are you?
Damn niggers.
James, up next at 239-1070. Hello, James.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
I got two questions.
You go ahead.
First question is, do you think we need a tight end above a receiver, or do you think we should go receiver first?
I don't think there's any doubt they need a tight end, and that's the discussion we've had about that third rounder. And that's what Jonathan brought up with Kmet, and I think he even mentioned in the latter rounds, maybe the Hopkins kid from Purdue, but we talked about the Troutman. I think Adam Troutman's his name, from Dayton. In fact, we had a teammate of his dad call in 2 weeks ago saying how good of a pick that would be, and that's somebody we kind of put a target on as far as that's concerned, tight end. But, yeah, is it necessary? There is no doubt. Absolutely.
Second question is, how are we going to arrange getting my case of Little Kings?
I don't know, man. Through the mail, I guess. I have to send it through the mail.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I like holding it over you for a while, maybe.
Remind me of the bet I made where I lost Little Kings. That's okay. I believe you, but remind me of it.
That our quarterback wouldn't be the quarterback that we had last year.
That, you mean that the quarterback this coming year would not be Brissett?
Correct.
Oh, yeah. I guess I do owe you that. Because initially I thought it was going to be Brissett. You're right. I do.
Yeah, you were heavy on it. I was disappointed that they didn't pursue Stafford more, but that's another discussion. And everybody else hated that idea anyway. But as long as he doesn't go to New England, I'll be happy.
There's got to be somebody. And yeah, you're right. So Little Kings for you at some point.
Yeah, I'll wait until the pandemic's over and you have a drop at a liquor store, and we'll
that's a hell of a plan right there. I'll drink a couple with you too. I miss having a Little Kings or 3 or 20.
Exactly.
Thanks, James.
Thank you much.
Appreciate you. I do remember that. JMV Zoom showing jacket off weather in the app list. Yeah, I know the app listeners got an earful too. I just tried to skip right by that. I'll be honest with you. When there's a huge level of jackassery, I will just not even recognize it. I think you guys know that's the pro in me. Just skip right over it. Some is worthy of it, some not. Kind of the way that it goes. I'm glad BT did get a hold of me, though, because tomorrow night, not only being a JMV takeover, that's hashtag JMV takeover. We got to get that thing flowing tomorrow night on B105.7. But we're also going to celebrate BT's birthday because he's not able to get out and do anything because he is sheltered in. So we'll celebrate BT's birthday tomorrow night with the hashtag JMV takeover. It's all request, all 80s Saturday night in-house party tomorrow night, B105.7. I'll be in there. Chris Woolridge is going to help, and we're going to roll out calls all night. Calls from you requesting tunage. I know it's going to be all 80s. I don't know. We did a couple of special things. Got some special stuff ready to roll. I've got some stuff in my mind. But normally we try to keep it as wide open as possible. Last week for one-hit wonders and two-hitters, we did 35 calls. So we try to keep it wide open. Now we dig deep. We'll go very commonplace, like the songs that have been well-tested. And you know what those are, right? The well-tested songs. I mean, if you turn on something 80s and you know that you're going to hear it. But tomorrow night's going to be a blast. Hashtag JMV Takeover. You can send me that Hashtag JMV Takeover for your requests, and then I want your photos and your videos of what you're doing at that time as well so we can share them. Have some fun tomorrow night. And we're going to celebrate BT's birthday because he's sheltered in. Tomorrow night, B105.7, hashtag JMV Takeover. It's an all-request Saturday night in-house party for you. Top of the hour, we go Pat Sullivan, hashtag Ask Pat, hashtag Ask Pat, for what should be a great segment with Pat Sullivan from Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Already, we have questions rolling in here. We'll get to Pat coming up at the top of the hour, and anything goes in the 6 o'clock hour. 93.5 and 107.5 FM, The Fan.
Sports with Dan Dockett.
The great Dan Patrick.
I took down Dan Marley in a three-point shooting contest. We go to the NBA Finals. The Suns are there, and Marley turns and says, "Do you want a piece of me?" I say, "I got my suit and tie on." He goes, "All right, but you don't want a piece of me." Took off my jacket, and I ended up beating Dan Marley in the three-point shooting contest in front of his team. The next night, Marley hit 8 threes against the Chicago Bulls.
Dan Dockett, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Shut in or just hanging out. Nice thing about Kevin Bowen's podcast and the latest sports news is you can listen anytime, anywhere. 1075thefan.com or your inbox for free.
Sports Center updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, buy 3 tires, get 1 free. No credit needed financing options available. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Reinhardt Heating and Cooling? Find that American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Why you'll have to stay home a little longer. From the WIBC Newsroom, I'm Rob Connett with a coronavirus update. Governor Holcomb says on Monday he will once again extend the statewide stay-at-home order, now to Friday, May 1st.
That's not to say that we're going to pull up immediately after that. It just means it's going to allow us to make some changes or some tweaks, some accommodations as we see appropriate around the state of Indiana.
He says we still have a lot of work to do to beat the virus. That means non-essential businesses will remain closed, and some Hoosiers are upset about that. Robert Hull is leading a peaceful protest at the governor's mansion on Saturday afternoon.
It's destroying people's lives. It's going to cause more harm than what the coronavirus could have done.
He says it's unconstitutional for the governor to shut down the economy, and he expects at least 100 people to show up. I'm Rob Connett from the WIBC Newsroom.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Simon Pagino. How weird is it going to be to do a 500 in August?
It changes tradition for sure, but it's important that we race Indy. If there's only one race this year, I'd love it to be just Indy. It's the most important race of the year. It's the biggest race in the world, so it will be hot, but I have no doubt we can be ready for it, so I'm excited.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Shout out to Adam Howard who says you got to throw on some 80s doobies. Here you go. Tomorrow night. We'll throw on some 80s doobies for you tomorrow. This is technically 79, 80, but it works here. Litzy says, "See you, Brent. Jonathan just knocked it out of the park." That was a well done, highly informational phone call by Jonathan earlier. It was. Austin Price writes this: "I saw Rappaport saying that a general manager telling him that all these mock drafts are off more than they normally are. I've also seen that some teams have Judy as the number 5 or 6 receiver in the draft because he doesn't have an elite trait. I'd be mad if he fell to 34. I should say I wouldn't be mad if he fell to 34. Have you seen anything where Jerry Jeudy falls that far? I have not seen that.
The only thing I've seen is Chris Sims from NBC. He doesn't even have him as a top 5 wide receiver. He's the only person I've seen that doesn't have him in that top 15 picks.
I think that's something somebody really believes, or if you're just maybe you don't like the dude and you're just taking a contrarian
when you're the
opinion.
only one, and I mean, there's a million mock drafts out there. When you're the only one that doesn't have him as the number 1 or 2 wide receiver, I mean, something seems a little fishy.
There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it. John McClain says, I'll tune in tomorrow night, JMV. My wedding anniversary is this weekend. Great wedding anniversary listening, too. It'll be great. Hey, JMV, I agree with you. I thought the free agency list was pretty terrible this year, too. It was. I mean, there's nothing great about it. Nothing great about it at all. I would like to know, because Ballard said earlier today that he, quote, dabbled with a free agent or two wide receiver. I'd like to know who it was. You think dabbling was with Devin Funchess? I think they dabbled with Funchess or had zero interest?
I would hope. I don't know. I bet you they dabbled with Perriman from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, that signed in New York. Maybe probably Robbie Anderson too. Talk to him.
See, I would think it would be. I would guess more Funchess and Perriman than I would. I don't know why Robbie Anderson. What did he end up signing for? He was pretty expensive at the end.
He was more than Perriman.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was between 5 and 10,
right,
somewhere in there.
Makes sense. It does. JMV can draft one or two wide receiver throughout the draft or pick up one via free agency that's still left. Yeah, we'll see. Raymond Long writes this, I'll tune in for my 21st. Better play some good stuff. I'm always playing good stuff. Always. Dan Stevens writes this, how many Little Kings did that dude have before he decided to call in? I owe James Little Kings, I do. Tyler Fox says, here's a good Connecticut Water question of the day for you. Will Phillip Rivers throw a TD or an interception? Which happens first in a Colts uniform, TD or interception? Think I ought to put that up there? What do you think it's going to be? You think there's going to be more positive? Because basically that is whether or not you like it. It comes down to that. Whether or not you like the signing, whether or not you are ready to move on from Brissett is how you're going to answer.
For all those people that are on the fence for Rivers, if that first is a touchdown, people are going to love him. He's going to get a ton of fans. If the first one is an interception, I mean, you're going to get a bunch of people here that just hate his guts again.
Yeah. I think, again, but if you're guessing right now, if I put that up there as a Connecticut Water question of the day, it all comes down to whether or not you believe in him, like him, think it was a strong signing. It's what you believe regarding Phillip Rivers. JMV, the fact the Packers are only paying Funchess $2 million tells me the Colts did no dabbling with him. He got him on the cheap.
Or it tells you that Funchess is just QB hunting. He wants to play with an elite quarterback, which is why he signed here in the first place.
And that was my original thought. And he signed here in the first place to play with Andrew Luck. He didn't sign up to play with Jacoby Brissett. He played 3 quarters a year ago, and he's going to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. And he's still, you got to keep in mind, too, Jeff, he's still trying to resurrect his career. I mean, that $2 million can also be reflective of somebody trying to say, hey, I'm not like a year ago being injured. I'm not like 2 years ago being ineffective. I'm like 3 years ago now as a big-bodied wide receiver that can be trusted to catch over 70 balls. I think that's true. Quarterback hunting. I've always wanted to know if there was more behind that here. And they've said all the right things around here, but I was always kind of curious if there was more to the story around here. From Reggie Sykes. I think that caller should hate Tom Brady more than Phillip Rivers. Are there cups? Did you bring beer? I did. Man, I need it. You brought a lot of beer there. That's a job well done out of you. And it's in a jug. It's a growler. It's a plastic growler. Jump on here really quick. Hold on. I'm going to take the light. Oh, this is Pat Sullivan's in studio. We're going to go ahead and entice you to hashtag Ask Pat to ask questions and to call in and talk about beer before we get in.
So one of those is beer brewery Weizengut, and the other is that is a Big Lug and not one of their IPAs.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's probably the that looks like the IPA.
This
does
looks
it smell a little bitter like
it
Life?
Looks a little lighter, though. That looks looks a little thicker down here.
Okay.
If you can see on YouTube Live, this is the beer that we got working in here right now. You guys can watch me drink on the air, which is always good too.
So that one would be a little like bitter, like life.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like life. You smelling life right there.
That'll grab you by the boo-boo right there, man.
That's right.
It will. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about coming up here, right?
We do.
How did the last week go for you?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I mean, the weather sucked. That doesn't help.
It doesn't.
That does not help the mood of the city.
This crap out here right now just sucks beyond belief.
Yeah.
It's like November out here right now.
If you're going to have a pandemic, I mean, seriously, in the mood that everybody's in, you want sunshine, and warm temperatures.
I had to get out and mow on Wednesday at about 10 in the morning, and it was freezing.
What were you doing up at 10 in the morning?
I had to get up and mow, man. I didn't get it done this weekend when it was warm, and then all of a sudden I waited until Wednesday, and it sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, sucked.
Yeah. So hopefully the weather's going to be better next week, but the weather just sucked the entire week.
It has, the entire time. And really it has since we had those storms a week ago Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because it was back-to-back near 80 degrees, if not over 80 degrees, and we had those storms that were ridiculous last Wednesday, and it's been crap since. It has.
Yeah.
All right, you fired up and ready to go?
I'm ready. I just got to put on my makeup. Right with you.
Hashtag Ask Pat. Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Any questions you might have regarding your backyard, your lawn, your landscaping, smoking meat, barbecuing meat, having picnics, hanging out, lawn equipment, cutting your grass, all the above and then some. Moles, varmints, raccoons under your deck, chewing on your hot tub. Hashtag Ask Pat. All those questions coming up on the other side. Stephen Grimes writes this. JMV, has anybody added Diesel, Sausalito Summer Nights to your one-hit wonder playlist? Well, in fact, I did play that last weekend for my one-hit wonder 4 hours on B105.7. Diesel and Sausalito Summer Night. Long live WBWB, the Rainbow of Rock, 1980 alum Bloomington. You know what's funny about that, Stephen Grimes? I remember when it was the Rainbow of Rock. I remember when Randy Lloyd was the afternoon guy then. I actually worked at B97 as my first job. Well, kind of my first job in radio. 1994, I did a lot of overnights on B97. WBWB, William Brown Radio, which is still functioning down in Bloomington. Out in Century Village, but that was my Bloomington gig back in the day. Long live the Rainbow of Rock. So true. Seaweed says this, if the Rivers experiment fails, who takes more heat, Ballard or Reich? That's going to be Ballard. It's going to be Ballard first. Ballard's going to be first because, Reich still has a year less. And to me, Ballard's going to take the heat for going out and getting Rivers. He's going to be first, and then it's going to be Reich. Unless everybody around here feels the reason why Phillip Rivers failed was because of the offensive philosophy, and then it'll be on the head coach. But I think Ballard is going to be first in line for that heat if this doesn't work. And believe me, if you don't have 2 years of watching Phillip Rivers play here, if you don't have 2 years of watching him perform here, that means this is a failure. The full expectation, even with a 1 year, $25 million deal, is for Rivers to be here longer than that. At least one more. And if he is not, that is how folks will view it, because that means you don't go to the postseason, or that means there's an injury, or that means there's maybe a 38-year-old level of ineffectiveness that just didn't work out. That's a failure if it's not longer than 1 year. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Anything goes, 6 o'clock hour for you. Pat Sullivan of Sullivan Hardware and Gardens in studio. Hashtag Ask Pat. Your questions, phone calls at 239-1070 and more. Other side next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Simon Pagino, how weird is it going to be to do a 500 in August?
It changes the tradition for sure, but it's important that we race Indy. If there's only one race this year, I'd love it to be just Indy. It's the most important race of the year. It's the biggest race in the world, so it will be hot, but I have no doubt we can be ready for it, so I'm excited.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, Johnny, for Connecticut Water. All right, the absolute best water is Connecticut. But Connecticut also realizes this. Joe, John, and Dennis, they've said, hey, you know what? We know that you're hesitant about having somebody come out to your house where we are right now. Completely understand it. And Connecticut's genius, and here's what they're offering right now, too. Joe, John, and Dennis at the Connecticut absolutely know the water level and what you're dealing with in your area. If you're without Connecticut water, they can give you a video presentation showing you what's wrong with your water in your area and how Connecticut can give you the absolute best water. Contactless video presentation, virtual presentation with my friends from Connecticut to give you that peace of mind, but also to fill you in informationally on why your water right now is failing you and what Connecticut will do to make it the best. Contactless video virtual water presentation with my friends from Connecticut. Also, if you go out, you'll find that maybe like toilet paper and like paper towels, bottled water can be difficult to find. If you have the K5 in-home drinking water station, you never have to worry about that again. And couple it with a Premier Series water softener. You buy them both, and Connecticut will give you $1,200 back in a rebate. That's what Connecticut's doing for you to get you the best water right now. 2 locations, Northeast Side, Castleton, South Side, US 31, and Southport Road. The brand new Connecticut Water app, which can give you savings and all the info you need. Right now, download that to your smartphone or device, or simply put, ConnecticutIndy.com for everything you need to know about the best water right now.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. By now, everyone knows that mortgage interest rates are sitting at historic low levels. In these uncertain times, make sure you're working with a strong mortgage lender, someone you can trust to get the loan closed on time, every time. The Home Loan Expert office is open 7 days a week till 10 p.m., standing by to take your call, or you can apply online with our 5-minute loan approval, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, W228CX, Indianapolis. A well-deserved break from your quarantine binge watching. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.
It's quite pungent. It stings the nostrils.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, the beer's flowing on a Friday, everybody. Yeah, he's watching on YouTube Live. You can watch me drink right here in front of your face. You guys could have some drinks with me if you want. Like AC/DC, have a drink on me. Have a drink on me. Remember what album that was from, Pat Sullivan?
I do not.
Back in Black.
Oh. Was that during the 80s?
Yes, right at the very beginning.
I was having
kids.
kids.
It was the first album for AC/DC with Brian Johnson at lead after Bon Scott.
I think we had 4 kids.
Choked on his own barf and died.
Yeah, 4 kids in those 10 years. Then one in the 90s.
You didn't have time to listen to music back then, huh?
No. Well, I listened to the music of the 70s.
All right. If I was going to make a Pat Sullivan playlist for Sullivan Hardware and Garden and all its locations, what would I put on it?
Well, from the 70s, it would be the Doobie Brothers, Billy Joel, Eagles,
right on,
that type of thing. Today, I love Ed Sheeran. Some of the coffee house, you're a
little coffee house.
I'm a little more of a
there.
coffee house because I'm a stressed out business owner. You're kind of like a rocker. I'm kind of like
I want tempo.
So
you know what I mean? I want a little tempo with everything I do.
I just want something real mellow. That's where I am. That's where I am right now.
Oh, man. 391 free coffee house playlists right here.
Mm-hmm.
Created by... See, I couldn't thrive in that category.
See, most of those are small business owners.
Yeah.
That is who subscribes.
Coffee house music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you guys
station. No, you know what? I'm not sure what the mix is that we have at the store. It's a little Pandora thing that somebody came up with.
Rob Thomas, there's Gavin DeGraw is on this.
Oh, yeah,
right
good
here.
stuff, yeah.
Maybe got Rolling in there. Tori Amos, Duncan Sheik.
Recognize any of those guys?
Natalie Merchant. I do. Natalie Merchant. You'd play a little 10,000 Maniacs back in the... These are the days we'll remember. That sounds like something if I'm looking for something in your store, that's what I'm going to get right there. This is Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Big show coming up tomorrow morning on 93 WIBC.
That's right. 9 to 1.
That's awesome too.
Yeah.
These guys are watching me. And watching me drink here on social media.
Yeah, well,
that's awesome.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's no rules. This is the Wild West now.
I'm making my own rules around here. Look at my hair, too.
Yeah.
I'm never getting a haircut again.
Hold on. Scream and ask the program director, do you mind if John drinks? Nobody said anything. There's nobody in the building.
I got 14-year-old e-learner in the next. By the way, I got future Sullivan Hardware and Garden worker in that room. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've already had to yell at him. I had to yell at him. I said, at the end of this day, if stuff's not done, it's your ass.
You know, it's funny how, you know, most of our kids, the high school kids, and even the college guys that come back have been polled by their parents. And one of the kids walked in today. He was in IU, first year at IU, walks in, he's got a radio on. I said, when did you come back? He goes, my mom just threw me out of the house. Said, go to work. And he just came over, put a radio on. It's like, we're glad to have him.
Yeah.
Glad to have him because it's hard. It's, you know, you're going to, people are, you know, we want to do this right. We want to do it safely, but you're going to have to coax some people back to work and back out of the crawl space. And, you know, especially if they've gotten a encapsulated crawl space that's conditioned like any other part of the home.
Exactly.
You don't want to leave.
And I don't want, you know, I'm not trying to, hey, I got to hurry up and get back out there. I mean, I know how I feel about it, and it may not be. Well, I just want everybody to be safe.
Yep.
And for me, and everybody thinks, man, you're just you're just out there and you want to run around. Hey, I want my family to be safe. I mean, I got a 70-plus-year-old mom I got to worry. I haven't seen her in a month.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that too. So sure,
Everyone's situation is different too. Some
Yeah.
people have underlying health conditions and different things. So, everybody has to make their own decisions.
I'm
just being safe.
Teflon coated SOB sitting right here. That's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I do kind of just worry about stuff when it happens too. That's the other problem too. Oh yeah. Oh, that's just me. If it happens, it happens. My toes are still tapping.
I know I got a vent out here somewhere in the garage.
All right, Pat Sullivan. Hashtag Ask
I apologize.
Pat.
That was not nice.
Pat in studio with us. Hashtag Ask Pat for questions. We've got beer. We've got prizes.
All right, here's a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a weird thing of, all the different things in pandemic show. You see people are putting puzzles together, right? They're doing
right.
We go to order. I usually split a semi-load of Big Green Egg charcoal with a friend of mine that has a store in Louisville.
Right.
48 pallets, 24 for each. They wouldn't take the order. There's a shortage because everyone is home and everyone is cooking outside Big Green Eggs, Traegers, Weber's, and so there's a shortage of lump charcoal.
That is
now,
incredible.
I don't want to, and I'm not saying this to create a run on charcoal. I'm sure we'll get it, but they said we can sell you 10 pallets. So, because normally we just put this order in, we get 48 pallets, we split it, and down there they go.
So
nope.
it's about like toilet paper.
Exactly.
I can't wipe or smoke right now.
Yeah.
Come on. No, I would agree. And that's something
That's
we're
crazy.
doing a
You
lot
never
too.
think about that.
I'm going to go home in this crap house weather. I'm going to go home and I'm going to go out and I'm going to cook out a little buffalo. I get a little buffalo meat
do you
that's
really?
ready to rock.
Nice.
Yeah. I love buffalo.
Yeah.
So good for you, isn't it? That's what they say.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't
That's
it a
what
lie?
they say. I don't know.
Is buffalo meat good for us? They say that it's better than ground beef.
I can't. I don't know. I mean,
is it real buffalo or is it a breed of buffalo?
Seriously,
kind of buffalo.
Here would be the question: if someone says, you know what, buffalo meat will extend your life.
Oh yeah.
I want to get the hell out of here. Do you really want? I don't want stuff that's going to make me live longer.
Oh, I think I want to be out around here for about 250 years, Pat, to be honest. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
I have a damn good time. I have a good time here.
I have a great time, but I'm tired.
Well, and see, that's where we're different right now. Because when we're talking about Pat Sullivan Hardware and Garden, you're working 18-hour days maintaining, and how I deal with it, because there's no live action sports, therefore there's nothing for me to watch. I take a handful of sleep aids and sleep for about 10 hours a day. That's what I do.
I wake up usually at 3 a.m. with an anxiety attack.
See, I know. There are a lot of people out there that feel the same way.
Yeah.
There is. So and I have found this out. I've not been the biggest fan of sleep in the past. And now I am, because I have felt great in the past month by getting double-digit hours of sleep. And I
could not sleep that long.
Vividly detailed dreams, which are awesome.
Really?
Oh, man. It's like I'm like Jim Morrison, I think, at home now. I'll like fall asleep and holy crap.
I bet if you open up
my
the
dreams
phone
are better than
lines
these films right now.
to people that have anxiety attacks, and I bet you would load the lines because people are just anxious. And you know, if you have anxiety too, it's good to talk to somebody else about it.
No question.
No
question
that'll
about
help
that.
you. It really will.
It's Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Hashtag Ask Pat for all your questions right now. What are we giving away today?
Oh yeah, we have a Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
We have a block of Duke Cannon soap. You know what Duke Cannon is? Duke Cannon's not a sissy soap. It is not like it's not a. You don't sit around and watch The Bachelor.
Duke Cannon's going to beat Lava's ass.
That's right.
Is what's happening here. Lava got nothing on Duke Cannon.
That's right. And what was the other thing? Oh, some horseradish mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good little prize pack.
I love horseradish mustard.
Kyle's doing a good job picking those winners out of the hat, because that was a police officer last week that won the prize package.
Shout out.
2 weeks ago, we had somebody from IFD won it. So
shout out to Hot Sauce and shout out to those that keep us protected.
That's
like
right.
That very much.
Yeah.
Hashtag Ask Pat at 239-1070. And Dan is up first today for a question for Pat Sullivan. Dan, go ahead.
All right, Pat. I got my backyard took a beating in the summer heat last year, probably from lack of water, and when I got bare spots everywhere. So last Friday, I hired a guy to aerate the yard, and I put down some seed. And it's not come up. Now, I just forgot that in this March, they put the pre-emergence down. Did I just waste all that seed, or is that seed still going to be good?
Well, here we don't know. So it's not a great situation, because if you have pre-emergent down, and that's a barrier that will prevent generally from grass seed from germinating. However, it's not going to germinate anyways right now, because the temperature has slipped back below in the low 50s, if not the high 40s, and grass isn't going to germinate in that. So I'd certainly wait. The one thing you have going for you is that they pulled the plug when they ran the aerator over. So some of that's going to fall on the soil of those plugs, and those aren't going to be affected by the pre-emergence. So you'll get some, but probably not what you want.
Okay. So wait, how long does pre-emergence last? 8 weeks?
The good stuff lasts 12.
The stuff you get from Sullivan Hardware and Garden is going to give you a longer time.
Here's hoping they use the crappy stuff.
Okay. I appreciate your help.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, Dan, thank you very much. Hashtag Ask Pat. Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden in studio. 239-1070 is the number. I'm also going to check up here on YouTube Live where you guys are tuning in, where Noah Haskins says frozen Tostitos taste amazing. And try pizza on the smoker, which you describe all the time as great. Pizza on the smoker.
Is fabulous. Yeah. Really is. Pizza Stone. That's good stuff right there.
Pizza Stone.
Oh yeah.
See, we could do that. I could do that. I gotta get a new thingy because it's broken. So I broke that.
So
in
that's
half.
That would be the convector.
The conductor.
The convector.
The convector.
They used to call it a plate setter.
I got to give it get a new convector because mine got snapped.
Yeah, that happens. Those things can, you drop them out of there when they're hot.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
That'll break them.
It will. Chris writes this, hashtag Ask Pat, in my 11-year-old son's enthusiasm to help prepare the garden boxes, he sprayed them down with Roundup Silver. Like, how screwed are we?
If it's like in the silver bottle, which is Roundup 365, you're really screwed.
So
if
screwed.
it is Roundup in the bronze bottle, if you agitate the soil, lay another little bit over the top, you're probably okay. White bottle, you're fine. So I think what I would do is I would take, if it's really silver, I think I would take 6 inches of soil off of that.
Oh, man.
And replace it.
The 11-year-old kid just had Dad get a lot of work going on
and then
there.
I probably would not plant any anything underground, like, carrots and onions and stuff like that.
That's not happening, huh?
No, wait a minute.
That's not a lot of hope given in that response.
Wait a minute.
There.
If you do, if you do carrots or something like that, when you start harvesting, send some over the neighbors, see how they do. If they do okay, you should be fine.
Hey, Chris, I'd check your shampoo bottle for Nair, too, if you're not careful.
All right,
Tell ya.
just see if it's Roundup 365 because that does have soil activity to it, so it could be an issue.
Hashtag Ask Pat. Chris Condit right there. John's at 239-1070. You're on board with Pat Sullivan. John, what's your question?
Yeah, I'm looking into getting a smoker, and I'd love to have a big green egg, but I'm poor and I can't afford one of those. What's a good, more inexpensive smoker to start with?
Well, you
don't have to babysit.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a Weber. I mean, you can get a Weber smoker for a couple $100. Even the Traegers, you can get a Traeger like a for I think $600, $700, something like that. So you can get a Traeger. It won't have it won't be Wi-Fi capable, so you won't be able to go out on your yacht and change the temperature of it while you're out there. But there are some guys. There's another brand of smoker that I do not remember the name, and it's a couple $100. People seem to like it. So, but even a Weber torpedo smoker, a couple $100. I mean, you used to see those before the egg was around. That's what you saw on all the cooking shows. Bobby Flay. I mean, they were all using Weber smokers.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. The big green egg's taking over the world.
Yes,
right
it
here.
has, man.
It has. Everybody's got to have one. Hey, YouTube live question from my friend Chris. Pat, what do you recommend to rid my yard of snakes? They seem more prevalent this spring. I don't like them, and my dog is too curious around them.
Wow.
Hashtag Ask Pat Snakes.
That kind of creeps me out a little bit, but you can actually get a snake repellent. It's called Snake. I'm not lying here. It's Snake Be Gone. Snake Be Gone.
I caught a snake in my yard last fall. Now, I'm not going to kill it or anything like that. I put it in. I was going to move it, and that son of a little bitty thing about this tried to bite the crap out of me.
Really?
Yeah. I go, hey, I'm trying to move you to the woods, you little son of a gun.
What kind was it? A copperhead or something?
I mean, it was, what do they call it, garter snake or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a copperhead.
I'm not a fan of snakes either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'll kill a mole like nobody's business, but I'm not going to kill any snakes.
Really?
Yeah, I hate these moles. But I don't want snakes. I do. I'd like to do something with this damn raccoon who I went out. It was about 9 o'clock the other night. It was dark. I went out to pee off my back deck, and that son of a gun goes running right past me while I'm taking a whiz.
What? Do you have a trap out there? A live trap?
No, I don't. I'm not going to hit it. Like I told the kids, I'm going to go out there and get the damn baseball bat, but I'm not going to do that.
Just put it in a live trap and then shoot it.
No, I'm going to take it to my friend's house and say, here you go. Here's your raccoon. But I think that it has a position under my deck. I think it digs
that is
big
very
under my
true.
deck.
Yeah, and you may have babies under there too.
So, man, I go out there. I try really hard not to flush my toilet between June and August. So I'm out there all the time. I'm out there all the time. So, yeah. Yeah, they like that.
He's just looking in there, and it's like,
yeah, he's looking for a couple of different reasons because his teacher just sent me what all he has to be doing. He better have me up in damn queue in
looks
there.
like he's Googling
right
social services.
Yeah,
right
he's gonna be in trouble here pretty soon because I'm not having this.
I walked in. He put a piece of paper against the window. He's inside of a studio. It said, "Help me."
I know. My dad's so mean. Anyway, there you go, Chris Baxter.
Yeah,
for
Snake
that
Be
too.
Gone. So you can. I don't know if there's any other way, but certainly there's repellents.
Pat Sullivan Hardware and Garden is in studio. Hashtag Ask Pat. We got prizes to give away. Somebody is going to win Yeti and Duke Cannon.
Duke Cannon soap and
some horseradish.
Yeah, horseradish mustard.
I love it.
That sound good?
That'll open up your nostrils a little bit right there. Clear your nasal passages. Matt talking moles with Pat Sullivan at 239-1070. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I got a terrible mole problem in my backyard. I've got a little creek behind me on a tree line, and they've just made it progressively worse in the 3 years I've been here. And I got a dog that we let out all the time or has a doggy door, so that limits our options a little bit there.
So the dog's not going after the moles, huh?
No, it's too little.
Oh, I was going to say you could cut its food out, feed it every other day.
Moles.
So here's the thing: have you tried traps?
Yeah.
I always like to see what people have tried. The number one thing that people use is talprid worms. Poison looks like little gummy worms, and there is a chemical in there that has been determined to be effective. And you find an active run by pushing down some of the various runs. You got to remember, moles work really hard. So where it seems like there's hundreds of moles, there's not as many as you think. But you push it down Wait till you see one that's been pushed back up. You know you have an active run, and then start dropping those worms right in there. Or if you're going to use a trap, that's where you would take a shovel, loosen the dirt, set the trap, let it sit 48 hours, and if it doesn't work, then you move it around. But I get it. Some people are fine with the traps, and some people just have no luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Back to YouTube Live. This is from Jonah in Arizona. Different climate altogether here for you. I asked on Twitter, but not sure I did it right. I live in Arizona, and I got a new condo. I want some plants. Any indoor plant that can survive that doesn't need constant sunlight?
Well, there's a lot of plants like that. Any of the, you'd think Arizona, there you could just open the door and a succulent would blow in.
Mm-hmm.
But succulents would be good. I think fiddle leaf figs is the rage. That's what all the young people like. That would do pretty well. But there's quite a few house plants I think that would do fine. Even I would think Arizona, although it is drier and you know what out there.
Yeah, Jonah in Arizona, thank you.
Jonah in Arizona.
It's from Jonathan Sparks via Facebook. He's got a question for you. What is a good starter smoker? I don't have a lot of time, is what he says. Just what he asked, what a good starter smoker
Well, you know
might
what? Then the key thing he said there, I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And that's where I would start to look at a pellet smoker.
Okay.
Because any other thing else, whether it's a Big Green Egg, whether it's the Weber smoker, the nice thing about a pellet grill, you walk out, you turn it on, you got to plug it in, so you have to have an outlet for it, and that auger, it heats it up. So if somebody that doesn't have a lot of time, I would think a Traeger or something like that, or even Weber has a smoker now that's a pellet smoker.
Reds catcher Tucker Barnhart's at home right now, listening. He has not got this on the green egg, but he says, can I make gumbo, as he's making right now, on the egg?
Yeah, you can.
Sure.
Yeah, you got a cast iron pot that they make. Just drop those right on there. Tucker's got a lot of time on his hand right now, doesn't he?
He does. He does. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But he's doing. I think he's becoming kind of like a chef, catcher chef.
Sounds like it. Sounds like he's into it. Does he didn't have the egg yet though.
Hey Tuck, man, do you have an egg?
I
thought he did, but I'm not sure.
I think he was trying to decide.
We're going to sell him one right here, I think, while we're talking to you. Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Hashtag AskPat or 239-1070. And Amy is up next with Pat Sullivan. Hello, Amy. Go ahead.
How are you?
Great, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Pat, will you guys get any Rosa Sharon bushes in?
Yeah, we sure will. And I think, did I see some? We may already have them, or I saw them at our Allisonville place. Now I'm looking at two inventories. I don't know where I've seen stuff, but absolutely. Although because Rosa Sharon blooms late, they tend to people tend to buy stuff that's blooming already. But we get them in the spring, but you'll see more of them certainly in late May and into June.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I would recommend, Amy, some of the proven winter varieties because they have some really nice new varieties.
Perfect. That's what I'll look for then. I'll keep watching your Facebook or website.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Tucker Barnhart says he does not have a green egg and he needs one.
All right.
Cast iron pans on the egg. Get me going. Add that to your ED segments. Hey, he sends it to me. He knows damn straight I'm going to read it. All right? He knows I'm reading it. So, no, we got to get him hooked up we got to get him a green egg.
Yeah, let's
get that going here.
Well, you know what? He's in Brownsburg, isn't he?
He's in Zionsville.
Somewhere around close
Zionsville.
enough. You know what?
Yeah.
Mark from Big Green Egg is there.
Mark,
tell him to get over to Tucker's house and get a Big Green Egg over there.
Mark,
and he wants
Tuck
it
needs
red.
A big green egg. Yeah. Little
Paint
red
it.
leg thing. Nice. Dean is talking shrubbery at 239-1070 with Pat Sullivan. Dean, go ahead.
Okay, I have two questions. One, the shrubbery that I've got, it's like invasive all up and down the fence on the side of the house, and it grows and gets kind of red and then almost hollow when you go to try to take it out of there. But it keeps coming back as a perennial.
Well,
Any ideas what
is it a vine, like a climber? It will climb right up the side of the house?
No, it's more stalky than it is a climber.
So you've cut it. So have you cut it all the way down to the ground?
Yeah.
All right. So cut it all the way. Cut it all the way down to the ground. Get a bottle of brush killer, and then undilute it with a paintbrush. Paint the stems, and you may have to do it a couple times, and then because that's the only way you're going to kill it. It'll take a while because that root system will continue to put out suckers, and every time a sucker comes up, just hit it with the brush killer, and you will win the war. But if you just cut it off and then go sit in the easy chair, it's going to come right back. And when you cut something like that, it stimulates growth, and it'll actually get thicker.
Okay. The second question I've got is, I think I've got a lilac amongst a shrub. The shrub gets real woody, and it almost looks like a river birch, kind of dotted, but then that kind of peeling away bark on it.
Yeah.
I've just been cutting that back. Is that actually two separate things? Because the one tree looks like it could be a lilac in there.
Well, it sounds like it is, because it sounds like the bark you're describing one of the birches with kind of the peeling bark type thing, and so yeah, I would guess that you probably have. But I mean, is it blooming? Do you see? I mean, does it bloom like a lilac in the spring?
Well, there's two different leaves. One's smooth, one's variegated with white flowers, and every time it produces a runner, it goes into the soil, and then if you don't get on it, it makes another another root or another birch or another bush part growing up out of the ground that you got to cut back.
Sounds like something I would cut down, and if it's going to sucker that much, or take a picture of it and send it to me at pat@wibc.com, and we will look at it and tell you what it is.
Okay.
Well done, Dean. Have a great weekend, Dean. Appreciate you. That's a good one right there.
Like marijuana.
Yeah. Jay Law says best way to get rid of moles: lawn chair, a baseball bat, a cooler of beer. Yeah.
You know what? And really,
tough.
I will say this: with the pandemic, people have time. Now, the only difference, I would use a pitchfork and a shovel. Yeah. And I would put some early detection. I'd put some straws from a broom, and you put those in the run. And when they start to wiggle, you know the direction that the mole's going. I would then take a shovel and block it off one side so it can't go anywhere, and then I'd take that pitchfork and go stabbing them.
Hey, you got to do these things are just SOBs.
Yeah, they are. But, man, they're good workers. Yeah. I wouldn't mind employing some.
There's no doubt about that. Jeff Hansen writes this, #Ask Pat, what types of bushes, trees, etc. do you recommend to plant for an area in my backyard that gets a good amount of shade and is fairly wet most of the year?
Well, you know what? I would say the trend in all shrubbery is smaller varieties so that they don't get out of control. So in 5 years, you're not having to there's so many different things. Some favorites, whether it's a lilac, well, now you can get a small lilac. Whether it's a paniculata hydrangea, now you can get a small version of it. So that's probably some of those. But if you get a lot of shade, the list of woody ornamentals for shaded areas is pretty short. So you might end up with some more taller perennials and stuff.
That's Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. #Ask Pat for a Friday, and you're on the air tomorrow morning, right?
Tomorrow morning on WIBC 93.1, just downstairs, 2 floors. We'll be on from 9 until 1. So it should be, we've got a big show planned. I mean, we always do a run through and stuff on it.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm talking about. I'm back in here again tomorrow night. I don't even know what song I'm playing until like 30 seconds left in the previous song.
So that's 6 to 10, right?
6 to 10 tomorrow night.
6 to 10 on 107.5.
On 105.7.
I'm sorry. B105.
B105.7.
That's right. So we hit that hard on Saturday morning.
Oh, do it again,
we
too.
Do.
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow is not a one-hit wonder. It's just an 80s.
All 80s, all request kind of thing. And the best part about it is I have no idea. Like, they're kind enough to let me go ahead and just take out what they have scheduled and do what I want. And so basically, I don't know what I'm going to play.
You realize there's no one in the building to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, they could by not having me come in. Yeah, I mean, yeah. They keep track of it. They do. Somebody keeps track of it, yeah.
Do they really?
Yeah, they just turned me loose down there. That was just awesome.
You know, one time when we were switching over from 1070 to 93.1, which was a kid station. It was
it was
what was it called?
CHR Pop Hits kind of thing. Yeah.
So I was on Monument Circle during the lighting of the Christmas.
Right.
So I was. We were just taking over. So I was doing some hits for the lighting. I mean, come on, man. It's the day. It's Black Friday, right?
Right.
And so it's not my regular boss on WIBC. It's somebody from this kid station, and he's in my ear to wrap it up. And I'm like, wrap it up? It's Black Friday, dude. I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes here.
I'm assuming he's no longer here.
No, he's playing Christmas music. It's like, shut up. I'm not used to being. No one gives me instructions like that on Saturday.
It sounds familiar. Yes, it does. Sounds familiar. Anyway, awesome.
Thanks, man.
Give me some shouts in the morning too, and I'll roll some song. Oh, it's fun.
All right.
Your wife likes it too, right?
Yeah, she does.
likes when I do a takeover.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you're awesome. Pat Sullivan, Sullivan
Thanks,
Hardware and
John.
Garden, every Friday right here. Hashtag Ask Pat. Somebody's going to win. I just don't know where we're going to find you from yet. Phones, social media, whatever. But we shall find it at some point, too. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Top of the hour. Anything goes at 239-1070. Whatever you want to talk about, no matter what you want to talk about, anything goes. Top of the hour. You don't get checked in. Nothing. No analyzation, zero. You just go on and you fly with whatever you want to say. 6 o'clock. Anything goes. 93.5, 107.5 FM, The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Chris Sims.
DeForest Buckner. The Colts got a hell of a player there. One of the best interior D linemen in football. Stats really won't tell how awesome he is. Phillip Rivers is still tough as hell, a playmaker. I just worry about his carelessness with the ball. He can win you games. The problem is he can lose you games too.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Fan is taking care of local restaurants with Take Care Takeout Indy. We'll highlight Central Indiana eateries offering takeout and their specials and offers. If you'd like your restaurant to be featured, go to 1075thefan.com and click on the Take Care Takeout Indy link and we'll showcase your restaurant on our website. We'll even be talking about the great places listed. Take care of our families, neighbors, friends, and our local entrepreneurs by joining Take Care Takeout Indy. Made possible by MS Communications.
Here's what's happening with The Fan.
It's the pop quiz every weekday morning with Jeff and Big Joe, the Fan Morning Show. Tune in to test your sports knowledge at approximately 9:30. Having withdrawals from the Fan on your drive to and from work, we can fix that. Go to 1075thefan.com. It's your chance to win an Amazon Echo Dot. And the Fan supports local restaurants. You can do the same. Go to 1075thefan.com to check out what places are offering delivery options because we're all in this together.
For more information, just click on 1075thefan.com.
By now, everyone knows that mortgage interest rates are sitting at historic low levels. Make sure you're working with a lender you can trust. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
Working our way to the NFL draft.
5 or 6 offensive players. That's probably the best route.
There are so many different wide receivers here.
Phillip Rivers as your quarterback. He's one of those guys that is all about football.
You know what I believe the Colts need?
Almost too committed to the run game not to have a fullback.
You just want to get back in the postseason picture.
Let's bring a herd of players here.
If you're talking about it,
so steadfast in building the offensive line.
We're talking about it. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
What did you say? I said we need a water break. You need a water break. Water is for cowards. Water makes you weak. Water is for washing blood off that uniform, and you don't get no blood on my uniform. Boy, you must be outside your mind.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Thank you to Pat Sullivan. That was awesome. We're drinking beer in here. Got some calls. Joe Burgess. I didn't see this. Trey Burton got released by the Bears. He was with Reich while Reich was at Philly, right? Connect the dots on that. I believe. Didn't Trey Burton play in the Super Bowl? I thought Trey Burton was a tight end that played in the Super Bowl for Reich with the Eagles. Joe Burgess writes this: I hate to be that guy, but is there any chance the Colts sign Trey Burton, who was released by the Bears? It's Reich's boy from the Philly special. I would. I don't normally buy into. I wouldn't initially dismiss that.
I guess, is he similar to what Doyle brings to the table, or is he more of the Ebron type?
What type of year did he have last year compared to the past couple, though, I guess? I mean, because obviously we think they're looking for a hybrid, but I think they're looking for really anything right now, too.
Last year he was hurt. He only played 8 games. He didn't have big stats at all. But the last couple of years, he played another one with Chicago before that, and then he was with Philly for the start of his career. He averages about 500 yards in the season. He had 6 touchdowns his first year in Chicago, 5 his last year in Philly.
I wouldn't initially dismiss it. Because you got Doyle and then you got Mo Alley Cox. You're going to clearly need to draft somebody. So I'm not going to. Yeah, I know normally we go, oh, man, come on. No way. But I wouldn't immediately dismiss that at all. I wouldn't. That's great. The pit barrel cooker, according to Mark. We were talking about cookers a little bit earlier, which is always good. 2019 free agency not called out as a Ballard failure. Hunt, Desir, Funchess. And he gave Brissett $28 million to bring in Rivers for $25 million after Luck walks away. Brissett, I think that we have talked about the failures. Incredibly balanced in the failures. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss the Trey Burton thing. That might be worthy of watching. We'll see. It just might be worthy of watching. We shall see, however. JMV, I heard you talking a little bit earlier to Mike Wells about what he thinks and what you guys think they're going to draft coming up on the 2020 NFL draft next week. Yeah, you're asking me if I brought out defensive line. There's something that always kind of lingers as far as the love of defensive linemen and up front guys for Chris Ballard that makes me think that maybe that would take you by surprise. But, given what we have seen in the past, maybe that wouldn't take you by surprise whatsoever. Maybe not at all would you be surprised. That is just a guess. But that's what we brought up a little bit earlier. And then we brought up wide receivers. It depends on what mock drafts you see. Some will have wide receivers going at about 7 or 8 a clip in the first round and early second round. And then you'll get some that don't have the wide receiver placed in as high a priority as others might. I just think it's going to be big-bodied wide receiver. I think we've agreed around here. Are you agreeing on this too? Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC?
Yeah, I watched some of his film last night, and man, there's so many plays. He's a big guy, 6'4". He's just jumping up, jump ball type scenario. He really reminded me of Vincent Jackson. I think he'd be perfect for Phillip Rivers.
So I'm
sold.
That might end up being it right there. Michael Pittman Jr. is who we're going to go with as far as wide receiver. JMV. Did you see where the Giants general manager, Dave Gettleman, says the team will, quote, very seriously entertain trading down from the number 4 pick in this week's draft or next week's draft? Yeah, that's not the Colts. You have to have a whole different level of assets to work that. So no, that's not it. And I'm assuming that is intended upon getting a huge haul back for the Giants to that position. We'll see. Everybody's going to put out feelers at this point in time. There's no doubt about that. That part shouldn't surprise anybody. But no, not for the Colts right there. Thomas Lawrence says Bradford pears are out, so what's a good small ornamental tree? I know, man. Everybody, and nobody was with me when we put all those Bradford pear trees in the ground by my house. Thank you. And now everybody's anti as of last week. So outstanding. You guys on YouTube Live are great. JMV, as far as your takeover tomorrow night, how about Oingo Boingo and Dead Man's Party from Brad? That's not bad. We've done Oingo Boingo. I've done that on there before. I think maybe I've done Weird Science on there. There's one more I think I've done on there before, too. JMV, I don't think Pat can fix a broken thingy. I was talking about what's inside my big green egg. Thank you very much. Music Mac writes this. So, John, my request for BT Dew's birthday party celebration tomorrow night on the hashtag JMV Takeover is Fire Lake by Seeger. Be awesome. Thank you very much. I owe Music Mac because last week he wanted to hear some Jesus Jones right here, right now. And I failed to. I had it queued up. Alas, I failed to remember it. And unfortunately, didn't play it. So I owe Mac a great deal for that. That was a very uninspiring request that I failed to live up to the obligation right there. That was absolutely my bad. That is too bad. The NBA is to begin withholding players' pay as of May the 15th. That's going to go over incredibly well. The NBA and the Players Association have agreed to plan to withhold 25% of each player's paycheck beginning May the 15th. And the Players Union announced that Friday. The agreement clears the way for a gradual reduction in players' salaries should there force a collective bargaining agreement provision to be enacted with the cancellation of the regular season games that they have missed. So that's the latest regarding the NBA today. This kind of seems like we're going down a path with the NBA that just, initially I thought absolutely at some point it would return at least to a centralized location. Now you don't know. But that is something that apparently both sides agreed upon, so we'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully at some point with everything. JMV, I hear you on the Trey Burton situation with the Colts, especially since they need a tight end. I think everybody needs to remember before he got injured in Chicago, he was pretty damn good. Listen, he wasn't great, but given what they have right now, it wouldn't at all surprise me if that was the direction that they end up going. All right, quick break and we'll come back. Final segment, top of the hour, anything goes, 239-1070. We'll do that top of the hour, anything goes, and get you to the last word. 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Chris Sims.
DeForest Buckner. The Colts got a hell of a player there. One of the best interior D linemen in football. Stats really won't tell how awesome he is. Phillip Rivers is still tough as hell, a playmaker. I just worry about his carelessness with the ball. He can win you games. The problem is he can lose you games too.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Shut in or just hanging out. Nice thing about Kevin Bowen's podcast and the latest sports news is you can listen anytime, anywhere. 1075thefan.com or your inbox for free.
Why you'll have to stay home a little longer. From the WIBC Newsroom, I'm Rob Connett with a coronavirus update. Governor Holcomb says on Monday he will once again extend the statewide stay-at-home order, now to Friday, May 1st.
That's not to say that we're going to pull up immediately after that. It just means it's going to allow us to make some changes or some tweaks, some accommodations as we see appropriate around the state of Indiana.
He says we still have a lot of work to do to beat the virus. That means non-essential businesses will remain closed, and some Hoosiers are upset about that. Robert Hull is leading a peaceful protest at the governor's mansion on Saturday afternoon.
It's destroying people's lives. It's going to cause more harm than what the coronavirus could have done.
He says it's unconstitutional for the governor to shut down the economy, and he expects at least 100 people to show up. I'm Rob Connett from the WIBC Newsroom.
Hey, Johnny for Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Johnny Chris Love, making sure that your cooling unit. I know right now you look outside and you go, what are you talking about, cooling unit, man? Come on. It's freezing outside right now. But no, sooner rather than later, you're going to make sure your cooling unit is doing the job that it's set out to do. And if it's inefficient, it's not only going to keep you uncomfortable in your home, but it's also going to cost you a lot of money. So make sure your cooling unit is ready to go for a long bunch of summer days and months ahead. 317-353-2141. That's Love Heating and Air Conditioning. And John and Chris, they do understand that you're hesitant about having folks in your house, even if something is going wrong, to get some work done that is needed. But make no mistake, they are practicing CDC-recommended guidelines for cleanliness. They are observing and testing their workers on a daily basis, health-wise, and masks and gloves, just all the precautions for your safety and for your peace of mind. That's what they're doing at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. So if you have something go wrong, do not hesitate to feel secure that Love's going to take care of you in every conceivable angle. 317-353-2141. They've been around for 100 years. They're the absolute best. It's Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Online, love-hvac.com today.
Go trackside with Kurt Cavan and Kevin Lee. Tuesday night at 7 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Pat Sullivan was awesome. Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Mike Wells, ESPN.com, and Bob Lovell, who's got a show coming up tonight and tomorrow night, Network Indiana. We were talking to Bob about a variety of things a little bit earlier on a Friday show. Anything Goes coming up in just a bit, so be ready for that. The Fridays, I think, are always made better when we go at the top of the hour to Anything Goes. And you guys be ready for it. That's where you don't get checked in. You just kind of call in and boom, you're on the air and you say whatever you want. Now, it'd be great if you wouldn't get me in trouble, but you know how it is. You say what you want, you roll with it, and we worry about it a little bit later on. Hey, JMV, I heard you talking about that ill-fated start to the Indiana Election Commission Zoom meeting earlier today, where it was chafing the carrot bombed. That's true. So when you're thinking about Zoom, right, and you're thinking about what the NFL is going to have to do beyond the internet, and you're thinking about all this, well, today, and I saw this initially when it happened. I didn't actually see the flogging of the Dolphin take place, which is good, but I saw the reports of it, the tweets of it when it happened. So an Indiana Election Commission meeting that was held over Zoom earlier today was interrupted by porn. Of course, you guys know Zoom is a popular video conferencing site that many people have turned to for work from home era stuff. Everybody's doing it because of the coronavirus, right? And most people, I think, out there have kind of zeroed in and embraced Zoom. So today, the Indiana Election Commission got ready to have their meeting when at the very beginning of it, it was interrupted, or I guess it was started. Instead of hitting a gavel onto something on a desk, right? And beginning the meeting, instead of the gavel, was some dude that was beating the bishop. Seriously. That's how it started. Now, it only was on there for a second before it was eliminated, but it was a chafing of the carrot, flogging of the dolphin, you know what I mean, at the beginning of the meeting, which kind of led us down the path of, what if? What if? You guys are great. Listen, I got all the terms, you guys, right here. Now, those of you that have asked me, so who was presiding over this? Apparently, it was Stuart Richardson. That's a firm that holds these. And we asked for a public comment from Stuart Richardson. Listen, you just got to laugh and move on. But that's what happened earlier today via Zoom. If you're asking what Mike Wells and I were talking about, that was it. That's how you start out a meeting right there. And I'll play a couple of songs tomorrow night, a couple of 80s hits in honor of that start of the meeting. Just for you on B105.7 coming up tomorrow night. JMV, I heard you guys talking a little bit earlier about the NFL draft. What do you think the odds are that the Colts end up drafting a quarterback? Do you think Jordan Love will be available at 34? While I do not believe he's going to be available at 34, I do believe that they will end up drafting a quarterback. I just don't think that he's going to have availability at number 34. I think somebody will get him long before that. But I will say this, there are a couple of mock drafts out there, The Athletic being one, that did have him available at number 34. So if that were the case, I mean, let's just say this. For those that like Jordan Love, for those that want to see the Colts get a younger quarterback, be more prepared for the longer-term future, for those that kind of bought into the Jordan Love hype, if he's there at 34, would I mind it? No. Do I think I know what they want at wide receiver? No. Am I going to guess? Yes. Michael Pittman Jr. And as we talked about earlier in the show, when you go back to Monday on the show, Charles Arbuckle joined us, and we talked about the bigger-bodied wide receivers, the availability of Chase Claypool of Notre Dame. And actually, Charles gave us a really good description of Chase Claypool versus Michael Pittman Jr. in our conversation on Monday. It was spectacular. And sold me and sold Kyle, and I think a lot of other folks out there, on the big-bodied wide receiver from USC. We shall see where it goes, but that is my guess right there. And my guess would be if Jordan Love ends up all the way down there into the second round, that there would be interest. That's my guess. I mean, did Chris Ballard allude to anything like that today? No. The one lasting comment, because it was unprovoked, is this, meaning that Chris was quoted as to saying he wish he had more draft picks. Because I believe if you look back at the drafts for the Colts to this point, he's got 7 coming up here in the draft. Is that true? 7? That is the lowest number, right, that he has had to work with in the draft since he's been here. And, I mean, listen, their philosophy is still the same. Even though they paid $25 million for a 38-year-old man at quarterback, their philosophy is still to build within. They just felt they needed an upgrade right here and right now. And no matter what they say about Jacoby Brissett, they lost faith in him. And they are putting $25 million worth of faith that not only Phillip Rivers is the guy for this year, but if he plays at that level, which is their expectation, that he is going to be a similar contract guy for the next year. I mean, they want this to work out. And for it to work out, he has to play here more than 1 year. For that to be a success, he has to play here more than 1 year. They're still going by the build it from the ground up philosophy. But at quarterback, I mean, they found out with the retirement of Andrew Luck and with the play a year ago, Brissett, they feel the need to go a different direction. 239-1070 is the number. Jim is talking Zoom hacker. Hello, Jim.
Hey, JMV, you were cracking me up. That is awesome.
That is true. True stories. That's like the split-second beginning. Some guy was rubbing one out right in front of everybody. Yeah.
I have a phrase for that act, and someone told me that years ago, and I never heard it before or since. I didn't know if you were familiar with it, and that is pull 'em Twinkie.
I have not used that one, but
isn't that funny?
I have not used that before, but I get it. Yeah, I think that if you Google that, there will probably be close to about 100 phrases I think that are useful. Yeah.
That was a new one on me, and I about cracked up. Yeah, he was pulling Twinkies.
I think mine were pretty old school. Right, going back.
That's all good. Hey, I'm old as hell, so it's all good. So. All right, man. And I do think the Colts will go wide receiver. I think I can see them picking tight end first, actually, because I think you can get a one of the early high-end tight ends, and you're going to be down the line a little bit on the wide receiver.
I can see them going tight end, wide receiver, quarterback on the first 3 picks.
I don't know if I don't know if they're going to go tight end early, but I could see a combination of that. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. No doubt. Hey, Jim, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Thank you. Seaweed says this, Ballard is going to trade 34 to the Raiders for 52 and 57. Book it. Hey, that's why I brought it up earlier. You had to be struck as I was about the quote of, I wish I had more picks. Now, he'll be the captain of the trade down train here.
But doesn't that seem fishy? Because then, he traded his top pick for a guy that was older and you had to pay him a lot of money.
Oh, it's the Rams, not the Raiders. The Rams or the Raiders pick at 52 and 57. Overall. Hey, that's why I brought it up earlier, because that's exactly the way that I took it. And I'm sure I was not the only one. The Rams have 52 and 57. And they've,
It's another team that's sort of in win now mode that might want to trade up for a
wide receiver
impact guy.
Yeah. Hey, I'll probably blow a gasket. That'll happen. He brought it up at the very end, and as I mentioned, it was unprovoked via question. Oh, it makes you wonder. It's from David Bayer regarding Stuart Richardson. JMV, please tell us that Brad Hamilton is their spokesperson. Oh, wait just a minute. Doesn't anybody knock anymore? Oh, man. Just great moments in self-gratification right there. Yeah, I'm going to have to play the Vapors tomorrow night. I don't have to play the Vapors tomorrow night. I'll have to play Dancing with Myself tomorrow night. I have all these self-gratifying hits in my memory bank here. I don't think I can. Yeah, 90s is next week. I can play Longview by Green Day next week. But yeah, I can get there with it. With a few hits tomorrow night for sure. Hey, by the way, tomorrow night, JMV Takeover. Hashtag JMV Takeover. Keep this going tonight and into tomorrow. And we'll work that. Hashtag JMV Takeover for your request tomorrow night at B105.7 JMV Takeover. I'm going to be playing all 80s, all requests in studio tomorrow night from 6 until 10, live on your local radio, which you never get, especially for music. So tune in for that. Be active with it. Send me your photos and your videos of what you're doing. And I realize that a lot of you are just going to be sitting at home. All of you are going to be sitting at home, maybe not doing a lot, but go ahead and send it. Unless you're that dude at the very beginning of that meeting earlier today, don't send that. But show me with photos and video what you're doing tomorrow night. Hashtag JMV Takeover. And your requests. Remember, high watermark was last week with the one-hit wonders and the two-hitters at 35. 35 requests on the phone. We rolled back last weekend. We want to beat that coming up on Saturday night. And shout out to Sean Copeland and Eric Allen and the gang for letting me do that, man. That's cool. And I think this is going to be more common, at least for the next month. I think I'm slotted in. I'm telling you what, too, man. If anybody wants to get on there and get your advertisement, that'd be the great spot. Because, listen, we are not only active in the listenership and the participation, but hashtag JMV Takeover social media is on fire on Saturday nights here. On fire. Let me know. It's tomorrow night, 6 until 10. Live local music radio, which is all requests. Just a throwback to the great radio eras of the past. All right, quick one. We'll come back. Anybody want to do some Anything Goes? 239-1070. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say, whatever's on your mind. If you have something that you want to say positively, if you want to go negative, if you want to debate, 239-1070. You don't get checked in, you get placed on hold, and I go right to you. It's Anything Goes at 239-1070. Next.
Sports with Dan Dockett.
The great Dan Patrick.
I took down Dan Marley in a three-point shooting contest. We go to the NBA Finals. The Suns are there, and Marley turns and says, "Do you want a piece of me?" I say, "I got my suit and tie on." He goes, "All right, but you don't want a piece of me." Took off my jacket, and I ended up beating Dan Marley in the three-point shooting contest. In front of his team, the next night, Marley hit 8 threes against the Chicago Bulls.
Dan Dockett, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Here's what's happening with The Fan.
It's the pop quiz every weekday morning with Jeff and Big Joe, The Fan Morning Show. Tune in to test your sports knowledge at approximately 9:30. Having withdrawals from The Fan on your drive to and from work, we can fix that. Go to 1075thefan.com. It's your chance to win an Amazon Echo Dot. And The Fan supports local restaurants. You can do the same. Go to 1075thefan.com to check out what places are offering delivery options, because we're all in this together.
For more information, just click on 1075thefan.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Mortgage interest rates are sitting near historic low levels, and we are saving homeowners hundreds of dollars a month on a refinance. We're also getting homeowners cash out so they can pay off the credit cards, make home improvements, or just stick the money in the bank for uncertain times. There's a lot of volatility in the mortgage market, and rates are changing daily. Start saving now with our 5-minute loan approval, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Indy's Downtown Steakhouse, Prime 47, brings you a great way to experience a spectacular evening of fine food and fine beverages for carryout or delivery. Prime 47 is offering a select number of carryout menu items Wednesday through Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. through the month of April. Ask about special dinners for two, along with carryout liquor, wine, and beer options. Prime 47 has partnered with Hoosier Connection Limousine for complimentary delivery. Call 317-624-0720 or email Elizabeth at prime47.com. Sports Center updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, buy 3 tires, get 1 free. No credit needed financing options available. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, W228CX, Indianapolis. Nobody's playing, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop talking. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, we got 239-1070. That's Florida Georgia line when anything goes. I think I missed the part I needed right there, didn't I? I'm going to leave this just for a second, then we'll get to your calls. You go ahead and load up at anything goes at 239-1070. I know a lot of you don't like Florida Georgia line, so this is not going to hit home. Hey, JMV, I saw the 107.5 The Fan just send out, quote, "I don't think it's bad for Oladipo because you know the dude is going to go at it right now." Listen, about Oladipo not getting games under his belt but working out, I don't think that's bad for him. I know others believe that he needs to get games under his belt, and if they do come back in the NBA, that's going to be an issue. But I don't think that's an issue for him. I don't. All right, anything goes at 239-1070 is the number. Justin Wesley writes this: Ballard doesn't usually hide his hand. I think he trades back, then goes O-line or D-line. I said D-line a little bit earlier, and people laughed. People laughed. All right, 239-1070. It's anything goes. You are on the air, line one. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Chris. Can you hear me?
Hello, Chris. I got you. You got me?
I got you.
Go ahead.
Hey, just calling. I'm going to request some the other Neville brother for tomorrow night, Robbie Neville.
Oh, Robbie Neville. You want to hear? What do you want to hear from Robbie Neville? Domino?
I'm thinking C'est La Vie or Watch It To You.
Ah, man, I could probably do both of those. See, my favorite is Domino, and I don't know why, but the collection. Hey, can you turn this up over there? Hold on one second. Let me see what I can find here. Do you want us to play this tomorrow? Turn it up here. Yeah, that's it right there. C'est La Vie.
Oh, yeah.
That tomorrow night?
That's it. That's tomorrow night. And I got another question for you real quick.
Yeah, another question. Go ahead.
I'm in Bloomington. I live here.
Yes.
And I'm wanting pizza. Do I do Pizza X or do I go with Rockets?
Dude, it's Mother Bear's, brother.
Well, Mother Bear's is packed.
Can you not get? No, is it the carryout's packed from Mother Bear's? But I mean, even on campus, it's packed.
Well, the campus is closed. Only the west side's open. I live on the east side.
Oh man! See, so the campus doesn't offer carryout.
No, because they're closed.
That's I mean, I'm a big Pizza X guy. Going back to when it was Pizza Express, I could deal with that probably. But I mean, I'm very hesitant to ever tell anybody not to go to Mother Bear's because I love Mother Bear's.
Oh, Mother Bear's is the top notch. But I think it's cheap and nasty, and I think in Rockets because that's when we have at 3 a.m. we leave the Bluebird.
I'd agree with you on that one too. I'm trying to think. I mean, if it wasn't pizza, I mean, Buffalo Louie's would be a choice. There's no doubt. I'm sure they're doing a great job of doing carry out right now too. But yeah, I guess I'd probably go Pizza Express right now if you're going to go that direction. Man, I didn't know Mother Bear's. I thought sure carry out would be open there along campus. Wow.
I drove by and it looked dark, so I'm assuming just the west side's open, which is,
Oh, that's going to be packed. I bet they have a line in it. And that thing, I love it being back there, but it's a hell of a time to get back there. You got to go all the past Kohl's through a parking lot and all this other crap. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a pain, but hey, it's worth it.
It is. I love Mother Bear's, man. Love it. All right, whatever you do, make it Pizza Express. Have fun tonight. Be safe this weekend, Chris. Thank you. God, I love Bloomington. Just trying to think off the top of my head what else he might be like. Do they still have swing-in closed down there? I don't know what's closed and what's open. Let's go back in the day. We did swing-in. Back in the day, we did what is Pizza X now? Was Pizza Express then? Mother Bear's. I was probably the biggest fan of Garcia's Pizza in the Pan ever. Yeah, it's not been there for a while. Great town, though. Line 2 is anything goes at 239-1070. You're on the air. Who's this?
It's Daryl, John.
Daryl, are you working for us tomorrow night, brother?
I will not be working. This is more of a public service announcement. People, pay attention to the road.
Yes.
You don't need to text and drive.
Don't text and drive.
I know that firsthand because somebody ran the red light the other day and totaled my car.
You're kidding me. Well, listen, last time we talked, somebody ran you off the road.
Yeah, so please, nothing's that important. You don't have to be in a hurry to get to Starbucks and get your double lattes, whatever. So please pay attention to the road.
Were they texting and driving?
Yes, they were.
Oh, man. Now, you're okay, right?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just people, you got to take your time, man. You can't be in such a hurry to get where you're going.
You can, man.
While you're in the news, you may hurt yourself or somebody else.
Right there with it. Daryl, well, then call us tomorrow night, would you?
I would, brother.
Stay safe. I'm sorry to hear. Daryl's a great dude. I hate to hear that happen. Shout out to Daryl. JMV, Chris can try Avers. I forgot. Avers is a great pizza down in Bloomington, too. And I do remember the Monroe County Pizza Department. Yes, I do remember that. What is the one on the west side that's right in front of the Kroger down there? It's not a Puccini's. It's something else. Something Enie's. That's not a bad place either. It's right in front of that Kroger on the west side, West 3rd Street. Might help somebody out. Line 3's anything goes at 239-1070. You're on the air. Who's this? Hello. Sounds like you're gone. Line 4's anything goes at 239-1070. Who's this?
Hey, this is Captain Everyman.
Everyman. Oh, you're going to go all in anti-Rivers on me, aren't you?
I should.
No, you can go ahead. I don't care. I know the theme normally from you is going anti-Rivers, and you make your case in front of the world right now.
Okay, I really called in to say don't sleep on the Fever because unlike some of the GMs in town, Tamika Catching is making moves with wisdom and clarity, and they're going to pick tonight number 3, and I think they're going to lift that championship banner up in Hinkle this year. So that's really what I wanted to say, that the Fever got to get some recognition today because they're going to be picking high in the draft, and people ought to check them out because they are going to be a great team and a lot of fun to watch.
That is a virtual draft, which is on ESPN later on tonight. Man, I thought sure Captain Everyman was going to give me a take on Rivers, but no?
Oh, I got one.
All right, well, load it up. Let her loose.
Here we go. I've looked at a lot of his games, a lot of Rivers games in the past, and what's really obvious, and this is what I'm trying to make sense out of Reich, and I'm trying to make sense out of Ballard. You can see a major drop-off in him from 2018 to 19. It is really obvious. His reactions are slower. The ball has less velocity. He's not moving as well, and his reads are slower. I mean, they're trying to act like he's still Rivers from the past, but when somebody hits that age and they start to hit the ball,
well, they're banking on him, man. I mean, they are sold. They are sold, and I mean, you can sugarcoat it all you want if you're Ballard about what you think about Jacoby. I mean, you clearly lost all confidence if you're doing what you're doing right now. I mean, you did. That's just it.
It's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen anybody make, because even if it turns out I'm not going to agree with it, because it's such an incredible gamble. Every time I look at the games from 2019, I just cringe. He does stuff. I'll give you an example. I was looking at a Lions game from last year. They had like a few minutes left. They were well within the red zone. They were down by 3 points. So all he had to do was not turn the ball over, and they have a chance to tie the game. What does he do? He throws a kick in the end zone. Game over.
Every man, I got to run here. Every man, you call any time though, man. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was this much up against it. Line 5, who's this? Go really quick.
Robert,
go.
Yeah, I don't listen to all your shows, but I don't know if you had a chance to interview Rivers. But back when he started, he came in, and did they bring him in to replace Drew Brees, who eventually got hurt? And now he's come to Indy, and
I got to run here. I did have Rivers on, and you can hear the conversation 1075thefan.com. I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody here. Kyle, great job, great week. You guys be safe and healthy tomorrow night. #JMV Takeover, 6P, B105.7. The last words coming up next. Give it a listen.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live